right, Gorilla Banter podcast. I almost caught the dance.
Okay, good. I'm glad you did.
I almost, and it was, and look, we're streaming live to YouTube, so there would have been no stopping it.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Jake over here getting it.
So, Gorilla Banter podcast, episode 18?
19, 20, 21.
Close to 20. We're getting there.
Dylan can count.
All right, in studio, Brock Washington, Dylan,
What's up?
and the guest
Satan.
today,
Satan.
not Satan, the man with the Deadpool shirt, Jacob Hall. Jacob, how are you doing?
I'm great. Glad to be here.
We should have kept his name low-key and just been like...
That would have been really great.
Just been like, the guy with the Deadpool shirt.
Yeah, now my whole family's going to know that I'm on here.
I mean, we can just make it an Astrocraft thing if you really want to just be a pansy.
That's perfect.
Pansy.
I'd love to be a pansy.
But it's going to be episode 18, Jacob Hall. That's too late. So, who calls you Jacob and who calls you Jake?
Females call me Jacob. Dylan calls me Jake.
I thought Dylan would call you Jacob.
I call you
I mean, only in our quiet moments alone, when no one can hear.
When no one can hear.
Yeah, I mean, most of my friends just call me Jake. People that have known me for a really long time.
So Jacob's a little more intimate.
Yeah, it's a little more like we've made out before.
or you're in a shitload of trouble from your mom.
Yeah, that too. So it kind of makes it. It's kind of a complex thing.
Does your mother use your middle name when you're in trouble?
I'm never in trouble. I'm too slick. I'm too slick to ever get in trouble. No, I don't think anyone's ever called me Jacob Cade Hall. Well, yeah, my mom has.
Yeah.
It's rare.
Now that you say it, you're like, oh.
Yeah, now that I think about it.
My mother's voice.
Do you have to talk about my mother during this podcast?
I didn't mean to get onto your mother to this level already. I'm way past what I expected.
I didn't mean to get on your mother.
No one.
You can't do it to the level I can.
Okay, let me go ahead and get this out of the way. If you're related to me and watching this podcast right now,
Get a life.
click off.
Get a life.
Click off now, because this is going to be the most explicit episode of this podcast ever.
I'm up for the challenge. Warning.
Warning. Stop watching now if you do not want to hear obscene amounts of swearing.
See, it's not the swearing I worry about.
Well, and that me and Brock are probably going to talk about some. Okay, this is where the clean stuff ends. Fucked up shit.
It took him that long to cuss. That was
Drew the
impressive.
line.
Hey man, I'm trying to keep it clean. I have a hard time flipping the switch sometimes.
Once you hit the explicit button on something like this, I mean, then it's hit. What's the difference?
If any of my family members are watching, I want to give them a chance to click off.
Okay.
You know
So
what?
you come from a clean house?
Yeah, I didn't start cussing around my parents until I was probably, how old am I now? 21.
Raised.
I was probably 20.
Raised what?
What?
Raised. What do you mean?
What type of? I'm gonna assume Judeo-Christian.
Catholic.
Ooh.
There you go.
He was raised Catholic.
I'm not Catholic, but I was raised Catholic.
I'm just having a hard time taking anything seriously anymore. You've only been cussing for a year.
Around my
you're new to
parents.
this.
No, around my
Just his
parents. I started. I can actually remember the first time I ever said a cuss word. I fell off my bike into the road and was about to get hit by a car and went, God damn it.
So wait a second. You was gonna commit a mortal sin right before you died?
What is
That's
sin?
awfully Catholic of you.
What is sin?
That's not very Catholic of you at all. It's not even really Judeo-Christian
Look,
of
dude,
any type of you.
If you're Catholic and you believe in Catholicism, you're like, I'm Catholic. I'm getting into heaven no matter what I do.
I'll just tell the Pope.
That
I'll
sounds
just
like
tell
a
the
Baptist,
priest.
too.
I'll tell the Pope and let him touch me, and then
Shots fired.
it'll be okay for me.
Wow.
Yeah, we took it there early in the episode. It's only getting worse from
we already
here.
went to the
Can't go
pedophile
back.
level.
Can't go back.
Well, you heard about that gay sex orgy that got broken up at a priest's house in the Vatican recently.
I did. Yeah, the actual Roman police got involved.
Whoa.
And that was the only reason it got broken up. The Vatican police wasn't going to do anything.
Some Catholic priests involved. We're out.
Why am I the only one who doesn't know about this?
Because it wasn't major headline news. They suppressed it as far as...
How are things still suppressed in 2017? I wonder that.
You can find the information. You just have to go look.
3 people
for the
can keep a
information.
secret if 2 are dead.
Benjamin
That's
Franklin.
what I'm saying. Is
Yeah.
how is that not like headliner?
Well, once again, it's not. So here's why I don't believe in the idea behind fake news. What I believe in is propagation of certain information is what is being pushed forward. I mean, as an intel guy, what I learned throughout the years is it's not that we can hide anything. I mean, there's so much in this world that really isn't even a military secret or a government secret anymore. It's just
I'm
what
not
you
texting
do.
on air. I'm just flipping my phone off. I don't want to
Do what you do.
You
You're
called
fu-
yourself out. We're in the middle of a
I know.
conversation. You
Keep going,
rude
bro.
son of a bitch.
My bad, dude. My bad. Fuck you, Dylan. I don't even care.
I mean, I was using words. I was speaking words. No,
military intelligence. That's what
well,
we're talking about.
well, that
Sort
was
of.
my first. That was actually my first MOS in the military. But what I learned in that is that it's not about the information. You know, all the information's out there. Almost there's a very thin veil between what is real and what is hidden. It's really just don't put it out there. Just kind of hide the information. Don't
People really
tell
aren't
people.
looking that hard.
They're not. They're not. You know, and then I start hearing about conspiracy theories, and me and Dylan can laugh about that. It's hard enough to just get weapons down the road, you know, versus covering up,
Yeah.
you know, some huge.
Are we gonna go ahead and hop on the conspiracy conversation? Because I'm
Well,
down.
not-
Sure.
it-
Whichever
it's more
one
of
you
a,
want.
It's more of a hop off, like the way we start, because half the time government computers aren't even working.
Right. If you've
So-
ever been in a recruiter's office, this is light years ahead of anything that's sitting in a government office anywhere.
Yes.
Like with the 9/11 conspiracy, I'm not a structural engineer, so don't hop on my dick about the physics in this. But let's say it was a controlled demolition. In no way, shape, or form does that implicate the United States government. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that get into that controlled demolition shit, and they're like, well, if it blew up, George Bush did it. He planted C4 in the fucking Twin Towers.
Right. And then then mine and Dylan's combat engineers helmets get put on because
Dylan
we're
loves
both
blowing shit up.
We're both one of those. And then I can tell you that you would not run a plane into a building and then assume that your det cord would still be in any shape, form, or fashion viable
Right.
to blow up the building. It's no.
Jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams, but it doesn't have to melt steel beams.
No. I mean, these buildings are very lightweight to begin with. You know, they're designed to
There's
twist
already
and turn
people in
with
the comments
wind.
like, oh, you guys fucking, just suck at the government's dick.
No, far from it.
Yeah.
This is one thing about military guys that you'll learn very quickly if you're around enough of them. Almost none of them, they like the government the least of anyone because they've been in the closest contact with the government.
And even though they're in a virtual socialist, the most socialist form of America that exists
Is the military.
Really? Yeah. I mean, your housing's provided, your meals are provided. You know, especially for the
Your ass is just owned by Uncle Sam.
yeah. And yet, so many of them tend to be the complete opposite of that form of, you know, philosophy. So it's always interesting on how that all folds out.
But let's also say this. Just because you don't like how things are being run in the government
Doesn't mean burn it to the
does
ground.
not mean, no, and it's not even that. It's that people think if you don't jerk the government's dick that you're like anti-American.
Why would you do it at your face level?
Because that's trying to get that,
Right in the eye?
right in the eyeball. Angry pirate.
Look, Jake was hopping on something good, and I was gonna follow this up. Now we're splooging each other's eyes.
This is not going well. We're only like 10 minutes into this, and this is just.
I think what I hate the most is just watching 10 people come up with 10 different ways to screw in a light bulb.
Mm-hmm.
Like it blows my mind when I've seen little tasks, small things. I mean, something 2 or 3 troops could get together, or something that would require 15 troops. And instead of pulling these guys aside, they just shove 3 guys and like, hey, y'all fit this square cube in the circle hole.
Well, and everybody wants to get fucking credit for their brilliant ideas and all that kind of bullshit. I mean, you guys know better than I do for sure. I guess for the people watching at home that don't know me personally, I I have yet to serve in the military. I'm only 21. I'm in the process of joining the Air Force right now.
He's an intelligent man.
Right. I was in JROTC for 4 years, and it's kind of like the military, except exponentially more ridiculous, if you can
Yes.
imagine that.
Just because it wants to hold itself to something.
My best advice is don't tell anyone you were in JRTC.
It's too late.
Well,
I mean,
don't tell
the-
anybody
the
you go to
sergeant,
basic
the
with.
DS.
Oh no,
Like, don't
I
tell
would
any of
never.
them.
I would never.
Yeah, don't tell your drill.
I was the commander of the LAO 61st, which is probably one of the most ridiculous cadet squadrons you could possibly imagine.
Bring that to your grave.
Yeah, I plan on it. It's going down with me.
Now, just to go back, is there a conspiracy theory that you think has weight?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like with stuff we know about, like Operation Northwoods and MK Ultra and shit like that. I mean, obviously, there's stuff that
I have an
goes
issue
on.
with Northwood
Why is that?
because Northwood's the one about the shooting down an American plane.
It was basically just staging terrorist attacks to blame
From
it on
Cuba?
the Cubans,
Yeah.
and so we could run in and kill the Cubans.
So,
Not even kill the
so
Cubans.
once again,
kill
going back to that
the
little
red,
hat,
the red enemy.
putting back on that 35 Fox hat.
It's
You
the
play
argument-
red cell, blue cell, and part of when you're the red cell is you come up with bad guy ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And just because the undersecretary signs off on it doesn't mean that the idea even had validation.
Validation.
Wow. I tried to burp and speak at the same time, and it did not go well at all. Yeah. All that means is that at the end of the war game, these are the things that we came up with
Yeah.
on how. It doesn't, to me, and when I read that, I'm like, and? So there was one kooky guy in the red cell that actually came up with an idea. Yeah, he playing with his mustache.
And it's known that like none of that shit ever went into MK Ultra, definitely. But
Remind me on MK Ultra. What was that again?
MK Ultra was just. I'm fairly sure it was the CIA. I'm sure there's someone that beats their dick over conspiracy theories and knows much better than I do. But it was basically the CIA experimenting with LSD.
The man who stare at goats.
Yeah, to control people's minds.
That was a movie.
That was a movie based on the true story.
Yeah.
They basically played around with acid and all sorts of cocktails of drugs, trying to see if you can control someone's mind and if you can actually have psychic links and stuff like that.
Which, no, you can't, because fucking duh.
Well, I mean, they never released information on how the results went, did they?
A lot of it's become declassified.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, the whole thing's
declassified.
not. Now,
It's because I'm pretty sure they were like, wow, that was a crock of shit and a waste of time.
well, I mean,
What's crazy to me though is that they entertained it.
well,
Like,
there's been all sorts. Have you ever seen the? Did you watch the Netflix documentary "An Honest Liar"?
I'm so sick of Netflix documentaries.
Yeah.
I've got a rant on this.
All
In a
right.
minute.
Well, the Netflix documentary "An Honest Liar" is about the magician who would run around debunking.
Oh, James, I was talking about him the other day. What's his fucking name? James.
The amazing Randy,
Yeah. Is his name James Randi?
something like that. I don't know, but the amazing Randy. What he would do is like Uri Geller would
Yeah, he
bend
kicks ass.
spoons and do all sorts of things. He would go behind him on live, national television on the Jay Leno of their day and things like that, and show them how they did it.
What an asshole.
No, because you got to understand, Uri Geller was like, people were believing he was a real psychic. Like,
Yeah.
he had Harvard professors and things like
people.
that were trying to do double blind and triple blind studies. And then also he debunked the spirit channelers, people that would channel ancient spirits and speak from the beyond. And so he would debunk them. And he would debunk them in ways like how he debunked Uri Geller was by getting two boys, they were like 18, 19 years old, and taught them how to do all that stuff, and then submitted them into that study. and fooled these guys for like 6 months, and then at the end of the 6 months came out and was like, yeah, we
faked all that.
we
shit.
faked all of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
This is
I've always been really intrigued by illusionists, especially people that do it live, because it's so cool to see how well an art can get crafted.
But you have to realize that, well, it's like you said, it's an illusion. They're not magicians.
Some people
They're-
can't buy that.
I look at it like music.
Yeah.
Like when I hear a really good song, I'm like, oh, it's awesome how they did that. When I see a really good illusion, I'm like, holy shit. Like, imagine how hard that guy worked to pull that off in front of a couple thousand people.
I love illusionists as much as the next guy, but I'm also a skeptic, and I'm never like, oh, this guy he's got magic powers.
Yeah, it's not even being a skeptic.
But
it's
for
just,
every-
you know it's entertainment.
Yeah.
But for every skeptic and for every person that understands it's entertainment, there's 6 that
And all 6 of them live in the fucking South.
no, they don't.
No,
I wish it was
unfortunately,
concentrated like that. No.
There's a lot of misconceptions about the South.
Have you ever watched Trailer Park Boys? I mean, obviously Canadians have them too.
Yeah.
It's hard down here though.
But yeah, I mean, so that's why I found it amazing is that in the time, in an age, in the 60s and 70s when all that shenanigans was going on, there was this one guy who was the antithesis of this.
Well, now we're having to do the same thing because so many people are just
Believing flat Earth.
Brock.
I'm believing
Just-
anything they're given to them. See, this is going back into Netflix documentaries. My boss's wife put out a post on Facebook.
Get them, Dylan. I just want you to fucking
my
tear
gosh.
into these
Oh
Netflix
my gosh.
documentaries.
And you know
man.
what? It's a documentary called What the Health.
Oh,
What the
Jesus
hell?
Did you see that?
Christ.
Did you see it? All right, so I'm interested. I like if you saw Fed Up, that was a really good documentary.
I have not.
On
I haven't watched What the Health either. I've only seen
Fed Up.
segments.
Fed Up was a good one.
Fed Up was really good, and it shows the sugar pretty much or sugar companies taking over and everything else.
I watched just segments of What the Health, and it made me ill.
You know what the health was? Propaganda.
Propaganda.
Vegan propaganda. It was so bad.
And look, let's go ahead and preface this. Me and Dylan do not have anything against vegans.
No.
If you want to be a vegan and not eat meat, that's good for you. If me and Dylan did that, we would fucking die.
I'm glad you left me out of that.
Are you a vegan?
Yeah.
Are you? I didn't know that.
If burritos are vegan, then yes, Brock's a vegan.
Yeah, if a burrito, by burrito you mean that thing where you take some hamburger meat and then wrap a steak around it and eat it?
That's you.
It was
Rare.
The documentary started off for the first 5 minutes. It wasn't too bad. Like it was putting out
But this
obvious
dude-
facts, like how bad processed meat. Because everybody knows that if you go buy a pack of weenies,
Yeah,
or
it's
a pack
terrible
that's
for you.
terrible for you. And everybody knows there are some adverse effects of eating a large amount of red meat, things like that.
Fucking duh.
Fucking duh. But he goes on
Until you have a stroke.
he goes on to press the fact that, and they go into all meats. Like
Mm-hmm.
they even asked about fish, and he's like, fish are sponges of mercury, and it's like you couldn't eat anything at all.
So-
there was no outliers.
So here's my issue with all that. Mercury poison, something humans did. Bleach additives in meat, something humans did. Processed meat, the Spam, the bolognas,
That
all
stuff
those
was
hot
never,
dogs.
That was never intended to be eaten for every meal.
Human
you know?
problem. But you take a grass-fed, free-range cow, and you cut that bad boy up and eat it, and steak is never the same.
That's
Like
so
you,
hard to
you
get,
actually
though.
then realize that the steak that you thought you've been eating your whole life, that factory-raised steak that barely had 100 yards around to move in. I think everybody in the world has an issue with factory farming. I think if vegans would sit down for just 5 seconds, shut up their rhetoric, and just go, okay, guys, let's just campaign against factory farming. Let's just campaign against these slaughterhouse conditions of these huge, the chicken farms and let's just do that, and let's all push toward at least organic so that these animals are treated humanely.
I think
Then
that
they'd probably win.
It's not enough room.
veganism.
There isn't enough room for all the farms that they need for veganism either.
There's people that are definitely have that mindset. It's the same problem that like feminism runs into, where you have some people that are in feminism that are just like
The degrees.
Yeah, we want women to not get raped. Great, I'm on board with that. And then you have ones that are female supremacists, essentially, that they don't want equality. They want men to pay for the years of
Yeah.
the years of evil we've inflicted upon women.
It gets a little radical.
Yeah, I mean, and it like there's
There's
spectrum
there is no philosophy in this world
that doesn't have a spectrum to it. You know?
that you can't take too far.
Right.
You know, I mean, one of the things you
You can
have
take
to adapt in this
capitalism
world
way too
is,
far.
well, I mean, yeah, capitalism easily runs
Easily.
into crony capitalism,
Yeah.
which is what most of the time when a communist is standing up and they're saying all these things are wrong with communism, what they're talking, capitalism, what they're saying is all these things are wrong with crony capitalism, and I go, I agree. These are the issues with crony capitalism. If you want to regulate and still have a free market, you place laws in place against crony capitalism, and then you let the free market continue to go. You know, and it's just people always want to. The outliers constantly yell at each other, and all the people that are 2 and 3 steps into the center of all these different angles are going, huh?
You guys just chill out.
Yeah, that's
Whoa.
And unfortunately, in America, that's where we're at right now. Is we
Squeaky
have
wheels.
we have the alt right battling the alt left,
And
and
I
I hate both of them. I'm left of center for the most part. I'm a more liberal person, but me and a conservative person, I'm talking about a sane liberal and a sane conservative can sit in the same room and talk about the same stuff, and we have the same goals.
I think we're doing that right now, me and you.
Yeah, I think we just have different approaches. But then you bring in these guys that are like, we need to separate the ethnicities into ethnic states, and it's like, okay, you're talking about something totally different than we're talking about. You know,
We need safe spaces for everything. No, you need one safe
Yeah.
space. Your house.
that's the alt left and that's the alt right. They're just
I really think it's like Brock said. It's the squeaky wheel. Like
the squeaky
eh,
wheel
more
gets
than-
the oil.
More than hearing these extreme liberals or these extreme right and left, I hear all the guys in the middle bitching about all the guys on the outside, and I don't think there's that many of them.
on the outside. No, they're just the loudest motherfuckers you've ever heard in your
They
life.
make the memes that make you go, huh? You know, and then you always remember the bad experiences in life, right? That's one of the problems. You always remember the bad experience in life. And so, yeah, whenever you're even flipping through your Facebook feed, the stuff that sticks out to you is the stuff that makes you go, what?
What the fuck are you even
What?
talking about?
I mean, you scrolled past 30 stories that you were going, what is this? You know, so, I mean, that's one of the things. That's human experience, the way the human mind is wired.
Well, and now it's bled into the politics where everything is a fucking crisis. It's not that big a deal most of the time. Like, if everybody would chill the fuck out and just do their job, everything's gonna be fine. America's set up to where if nobody's just being a fucking jackass,
It survives.
it'll survive. Yeah,
That's what it's
it'll be
designed
fine.
for. It's designed to continuously move along. And, you know, people don't realize the genius of it in that way.
Yeah.
No, there's not supposed to be a lot of political progress on either side of either way.
It's supposed to be really hard to change fucking anything.
Yes, it's designed
Meant
to
to
be
be
that
like
way
that, yeah.
so that it just keeps going.
That way, you have to have 3/4 of the society that says this is what we want.
Yes,
And-
it's not just simple majorities, you know, because
because then the majority rules, and every time something changes, you don't want that. No, people. I hear all the time. It's like, well, the majority. That's what the most people want. Dude, the majority's fickle as fuck.
that's why you're not in a democracy, you're in a democratic republic.
Yep.
And yes, you have a series of 50 nation states representing together in a bicameral institute
Yep.
with 3 branches of government
Yep.
that all have checks and balances against each other.
Okay, so you say it should be harder to change things and constantly move along, but just in the past, what's the transgender movement been? A year and a half?
I mean, the transgender movement's.
But now there is.
I mean, they attach themselves to the LGBT community.
And now there is
Yeah.
a mandatory, a 100% mandatory transgender sensitivity awareness for every branch of service.
Dylan's fucking
DOD.
hurting about
Every branch
this.
of service.
Well, you
Every
just
time.
roll your eyes because, and I mean, yes, some people are going to take offense to this, but let me just tell you this. If you're a Christian, that sensitivity training is the golden rule. If you're a Buddhist, it is literally your common principles.
Yeah.
You know, literally. If you're a Jew, it's just the way you're supposed to be to people. If you're an atheist, it's also just your core attitude of let everybody be equal. You sit through these trainings, and you're like, okay, that's how I'm already supposed to be in
Treat
life.
others the way you want to be treated. That's the whole thing,
Oh.
and it all boils down to common sense. And now it's a mandatory function.
Well, and Dylan, you're a good guy. What that training is for is, relatively speaking.
Relatively,
I mean, if we throw Hitler into this conversation,
you're a decent person.
you're a decent person. But like, I
For
think
the
that,
assholes, right?
Yeah, that training's for the assholes. And it's like with drunk driving. Whenever somebody goes and gets in a drunk driving accident, and then the whole base gets put on dry status.
Yes.
It's one fucking asshole there, because Dylan is not going to be the guy that's going to go bully somebody because they're fucking transgender. As long as they're doing their job, Dylan doesn't give a fuck. And I'm the same way.
You know, I don't think we know any transgenders in the military, but we do
I've
know
worked
guys
with a few that
guys and gals that are all over the spectrum. You know, me and Dylan both know those
And I
people.
treat them exactly like I do all the rest of the soldiers.
Are they task oriented? Do they get up on it? Are they there when they need to be there? Are they in the right uniform? Are they doing what they're supposed to be doing?
And whether or not I hang out with them on the side depends on, are they cool people
Yeah.
to hang out with? Do I enjoy their company?
One
And
of-
if yes, I hang out.
And it's like, and that's why I say, like, it's not meant for people that are, you know, if you're a decent person, you're not going to harass gay people. You're not going to harass transgender people. You're going to work with them, and as long as they're doing their fucking job, you're going to leave them alone. Because I have no reason to go out of my way to harass anybody that's doing their job. But there's people that are going to do that. And so
You have a really good point.
you get
That's a
to
really
so
good
you
point.
get to sit through that fucking 4-hour PowerPoint because that guy can't quit being an asshole.
Yeah.
So
Once
to all
again,
you
the squeaky
assholes
wheel.
out there,
The squeaky
yeah,
wheel.
because Dylan's not being loud. Dylan's not being heard because Dylan's doing what he's supposed to be doing. You know, Dick Cheese McFuckface is fucking every transgender.
How did you know him?
Everybody knows Dick Cheese McFuckface.
And he's in
He is a blue fucking falcon.
Well, you know, it's you know, and you bring that up. It's a lot like racism. Whenever I think of like having awareness meetings and stuff like that, and I think about the people I hang around with, I'm like, why do we need that? Like, there's not a lot of racists. And then I think back to high school. I went to West
Yep.
Washita, and I was like, oh wait,
Jesus Christ.
there are a lot of motherfuckers that the squeaky wheels that. And like you
Dude.
said, Dick Cheese McFuckface.
Dick
There's a
Cheese
group of 'em.
McFuckface. There's a bunch of them, and we had that problem in ROTC. There were people.
And if you get 5 of them together, that's where it's bad.
Oh my gosh.
We had some special education children in ROTC that, you know, I did my best to protect, and of course Dick Cheese McFuckface is going to come in there and make their life difficult, which makes my life difficult, and it becomes a fucking issue. Most people will get through the day, but if you have 2 guys that are just being assholes, it fucks it up for everybody. So then you get to sit through a 4-hour death by PowerPoint seminar about why you shouldn't be mean to people. Grown folks should not need that.
Yeah.
It's hard to be grown.
What's the answer?
Stoicism.
I mean, I think more
Shut
of
the
a
fuck up, Brock.
more of a unity in the community. I mean,
No,
not to,
no,
no,
no.
More
People
people to
don't need
stand
to.
up?
Okay, so here's where me and Jake may defer because he is a click left and I'm a click right of the center. I believe that mankind should learn to stand each its own, and the only thing I should be worried about is me and my household.
Nah.
Nah,
I'm
And-
with Jake.
and-
I'm with Jake. I got you, Jake.
That's fine.
Me and Brock
Bunch of-
disagree on this one.
fuck Brock.
Bunch of liberals.
Fuck,
Fucking fascist.
So yeah,
I got to get my Antifa shirt out real
Well, this
quick.
is-
so when
and
when did fascism become a left or a right thing?
Fascism.
Because it's technically a north.
Fascism is.
It's a north versus south. It's not left or right. It's north versus
Let me
south.
explain something about fascism for those of you that aren't with the terminology. Fascism is like,
Extreme authoritarianism.
it's not even really that. It's a nonsense word. It's something you call. It's like racism has become. This is why the left pisses me off so fucking much. Is because the left died whenever they tried to make identity politics their biggest fucking issue. You know what I'm saying? Because there's, like, I want everybody to feel included as much as the next guy, but there are much bigger issues out there. You know what I'm saying? And so whenever you're just running around calling people a racist, the word racist loses
It
its...
takes away from the real racist.
Yeah, it doesn't...
It's
It means nothing. So when I start calling somebody a racist, everybody's like, oh, here goes another fucking libtard calling somebody a racist, you know?
If everybody's a racist, then what is Dick Cheese McFuckface?
Yeah, Dick Cheese
Like-
you don't have a word to call Dick Cheese McFuckface
Yeah.
at that point because you've ruined it.
You can't. There's a spectrum to it.
And
right?
so fascism with these fucking Antifa dickwads is they run around punching people and calling them fascist, and then the whole left gets painted as a bunch of fucking radicals that are...
Right. I mean, and here's the other thing about it. Does it really matter? And I mean, this is thin ice, I know, but does it really matter that someone's a racist? Or does it matter that they use their racism against people? Because to me, that is almost the defining difference. It doesn't matter if you think, purple people are bad. Mm-hmm. What matters is if you try to oppress purple people or you don't hire
Yeah.
purple people.
Yeah, that's...
It was a color that didn't. It's the one color I don't think, except maybe the artist formerly known as Prince. That
I mean,
applied.
if you stand up in a restaurant and start screaming, fuck black people,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have an issue with
yes,
that.
Yeah.
yes,
And I'm gonna be like,
No. Hang on. Brock says yes, but his earlier statement disagrees with that,
Yeah,
right? Didn't he say his own?
he did, but Brock's too good of a guy to let
virtue.
some.
But,
Yeah.
okay, so that
say
goes back
that.
to the Stoicism. Though virtue is the number one thing. Live your life virtuous. So yes, I worry about me and my cave, but because I've taken care of me and my cave, that allows me then to give $20 to charity.
Yeah.
To stand up to that other guy and go, sit down.
Okay.
Shut up
So
and stay out of my society.
Before I fuck you in the eye socket.
But that's completely
And then Kimura.
different from what he just said, though. Like that's
No, it's
Nah,
not. No,
well-
no. What I'm saying is priority one.
Okay.
Priority two is then.
No, I absolutely agree with
Yeah,
priority
I'll
one.
agree with that.
Yeah. So now we're all on the same page.
And see, this is how discourse should work, but instead it turns into you fucking fascist, you fucking racist.
And then,
See-
and then you have to have and once again, so that's why I go back to the Stoicism of I don't have to have an emotional response to someone doing that to me. I just have to keep going. Okay, if that's how you feel about it.
Because if I'm in a restaurant full of black people, and somebody stands up and starts saying "fuck white people," I want one of those guys to say, "Hey, we're not going to have that here."
Exactly.
So it goes back to it's like Brock saying he's taking care of his own, and so he's kind of paying it forward by stepping up and helping somebody else out, and that's. I think we all agree on that. If you're a person that says "fuck everybody else,"
Yeah.
you
no,
probably
it's not about that.
You probably have a green frog as your fucking.
Texan.
Well, the biggest problem that I've seen in my entire life, from middle school
All 5 years.
on up, is just
That's a big fucking 5-year-old dude.
everybody being silent. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Right? Is somebody
silent
in
majority.
middle school is picking on the special ed kid that I'm friends with, and everybody turns a blind shoulder
All
because
right.
nobody wants to get involved.
We're about to get into some deep shit because, okay, when I was in middle school, I went through some serious fucking bullying, and I have a different opinion on bullying than you might think from someone that has been bullied significantly. I think bullying can
And
be
just to qualify this, you were skinny. You're still skinny, but
Yeah.
you were skinny, nerdy, mouthy.
No, I wasn't even
You wasn't
mouthy.
mouthy then?
I was a
Okay.
super nice kid. I
Okay.
did not have any of the. I was not the Jake you know and love today.
All right. I met you when you were 16, 15?
15.
15?
Yeah. By that point, I was pretty scrappy.
Yeah.
I had been through a lot at that
Did you
point.
play Yu-Gi-Oh a lot when you were little?
I will neither confirm nor deny.
Me.
That's
Me
a
too,
yes.
bud.
Fuck
Me too.
yes. And I got in 40 plus fights in middle school. Most people have never been in a fight in their life.
Yeah.
And nobody really said anything for me. And I had to, the only thing that got me by was just scrapping. I had to make people scared to fuck with me. And, if one person would have stepped in and said, hey, we're not going to fucking do that, that would have saved me a lot of grief. So I would hope that, if you're watching this and you see this kind of shit going on at work where somebody's getting fucked with, or if you're a younger viewer and your parents for some reason let you watch this filthy podcast,
It's not always filthy. It's
Well,
just honest.
if I was on here once a week, it would always be filthy.
Well,
Wait, Jake, finish your statement.
Yeah, keep going.
But on the positive side of that, life is going to have adversity, and the left gets into this a lot because they sort of want to create this world where there's no adversity, and I'm sorry, that will never fucking happen.
Nor will it work. That's my problem, is that it doesn't work because of the way this thing is wired.
What you have to do is be prepared to face adversity. And so whenever I showed up to public school, so 5th grade, I got done with 5th grade at Grace Episcopal, which is a private school. I got in like 2 fights there. 4th and 5th grade, kids just start getting mean. So.
See, in these fights, like, go ahead and, like, you're talking about being bullied. It's not fights you're starting.
No, this is. I've never started a fight in my life.
But no one backed down.
Yeah.
You didn't back down.
No,
right?
I didn't back down.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like
Because of the way your daddy raised you? Or
Well, I mean,
just something in you?
Just something in me. Like, the first few times, I would just hit the kid and hit them so hard that they would fall down, and I would walk away crying because I was like, why did you fucking make me hit you?
Yeah.
I didn't want to hit you. I don't want to hurt anybody. And then after like the third or fourth time, Dad was like, if somebody hits you, you beat them until somebody pulls you off.
Yeah. You finish it.
And so at that point, this is before I had any martial arts training or anything like that. I was just surviving on being crazier and meaner than the other kids. So I would just attack until, it was over. And there were times I would fight 2 people at one time, and, there's no reason that I should have been able to do any of that shit. It was just I was meaner and I was put in that situation, so I had to. It's amazing what you can do when you're forced to do it.
Kids are assholes.
Kids are assholes.
Like that's my experience all the way up until high school was just.
They're supposed to be, though.
And I'm the kid that's hanging out with the other weird kids, and you're immediately
you get targeted.
Just like that.
One of the kids I was hanging out with whenever I first got to Westridge Middle. So this is jumping from 5th grade to 6th grade. I'm moving from a private school to a public school. One of the kids I was hanging out with was gay, and the other one was just a weirdo. And so the first fight I got in, I actually got suspended for. This is the only one I got suspended for. We were outside. This kid walks up. Well, it had started in the gym. We went to PE, which I had right before lunch, and this kid was swinging his backpack around in the doorway, so I couldn't get into the gym. And I was like, hey, man, do you mind not doing that so I can get by? Super nice. Not anything like I would say now.
Yeah.
Hey, fuckface, put that backpack down before I skull fuck you. But he's swinging that backpack around. I was like, hey, man, stop. Hey, please stop. And I had taken some karate classes, so I threw like this fucking side kick and chopped his bag down. And he was like, don't kick my fucking book bag, and threw a punch at me. And so I was like, what the hell? Slipped it and then just like banged him with an uppercut. And then the coach walked in, so we were like, fuck, and like ran and jumped on the bleachers. Well, then we go to lunch, and we go outside, and we're chilling, and this dude walks up, and he said, fucking push me. And I was like, whoa, bro. We're just chilling. Ain't no reason for all this. He was like, push me. This goes on for like 10, 15 minutes. And finally, I was like, all right, shoved him, and he hits me. And so I like stumbled back. And then when I popped up, I just started beating the shit out of him. And the teacher came over there and broke it up, and we got suspended for that. Well, it turned out that kid wasn't even supposed to be in the school district. He had been kicked out of another school, was using somebody else's address to go to school there. So I got that expunged. That's right, Brock, isn't it?
That is the correct word.
Yeah, I got that expunged from my record. But I got in 5 more fights that year. Then I joined the football team. Got in like 20-plus fights my 7th grade year. And then I got a girlfriend my 8th grade year. So everybody used that against me. And so I ended up fighting even more that year. That's a terrible idea. Do not have a girlfriend in middle school. Don't let your kids have a girlfriend in middle school. Don't let your kids date until they can drive. That's a terrible idea.
I support these notions.
A terrible idea.
Well,
How many of these fights do you think would have been avoided if instead of this bully showing out and everyone maybe encouraging him or turning away?
Everybody absolutely encouraged them.
Yeah, if everyone was like, hey, man, that's not cool. And then
Well, that's the
But
reason.
they can at that age.
That's the reason I got into all those fights is because people would be like, they saw that I was always fighting, so they were like,
yeah,
hey,
keep coming at him.
Hey,
keep coming at him. Yeah.
Hey, I bet you won't fight Jake. Oh, no, fuck you, man. I'll fight Jake. And then, they'll be like, hey, so-and-so's fighting you. We'll be in the weight room, and I'm like, all right, I guess we're fighting. I start stretching and getting ready, and then I'd be at my locker and just get clocked over the side of the head, and then we're in a scrap. I somehow actually there was one where somebody got the best of me, but 1 out of 40, I'll take it.
So is the moral of the story go to private school? Because I don't feel like
No,
that's the answer
no. Private school, you're going to deal with a different sort of. The kids there had more money than I did. Like we're talking money. Like my dad now is pretty well off, but my dad's gotten there through hard work. He wasn't born in the. My dad was born on a farm to a guy that drove a dairy truck. Who had retired from the Air Force at Barksdale Air Force Base, and I think my grandmother was a school secretary. So shouts out to my dad if he's watching this. I love him and I appreciate him because he worked really hard. Aww. Shut the fuck up, Dylan. You don't know your dad, so you're just mad about this.
He would just be happy to meet him.
I have no idea if Dylan knows his dad or not.
Dylan doesn't. I love you,
Poor
Dylan.
Dylan. I'll be your dad if you need me to.
Aww.
I'm younger than you. That wouldn't make any sense.
We'll figure it out.
But yeah, so at private school, you're going to deal with a lot more just.
And there tends to be a lot of drugs.
Yeah. Oh God.
In
The
private
drugs.
school.
Wait, and there's not in public school?
Not to the degree, because
Well-
here's the thing: they can afford them.
Yeah. Kids in private school are doing coke.
Okay.
Kids in public
okay.
school are smoking weed.
Okay.
Yeah, big difference.
Okay. There's a big difference there. And then those private school kids join fraternities whenever they get to college and just get shittier and shittier as they go.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things that, especially over the last year, I've really been trying to embrace is the whole fact that frontal cortex and prefrontal cortex and the impulse control and how important that impulse control is, and why 8-year-olds will look at you and go, I don't know, whenever you ask them why did they do something. Why did you do that? I don't know. And if you ever for just a moment just relax and try to believe them and really look at the bewilderment on their own face, why did you do that?
When I was 3,
I
I
don't
grabbed the tailpipe of a truck and burnt the shit on myself.
You had
Why
no
did
thought.
I do that? I had no fucking idea.
Well,
Who
at
knows?
3, you're just trying to figure shit out. And like,
Well, like,
But
at-
that's still the case
At
that
18, I was
age.
still trying to figure shit out. At 21, I'm still trying to
22,
figure.
I'm still
I'm still
trying
trying to figure shit
And
out.
you know, as the guy in this room who's on the other side of 25, which is when the
Old ass.
yes, which is when that solidifies. You know, somewhere 24 to 26 is whenever that finishes. I can tell you, there's a difference. There's a different brain. You look back and you go, wait, I did what? I did when?
What a moron.
Yeah, you literally look and you're like, that guy is a moron.
See, I didn't get like that until, like, I can look back at some of the stuff I did in high school, and I'm just like, what a fucking
Yeah,
idiot.
that gets worse.
Yeah,
I can look back 3
like
years ago.
getting obsessed with. Like, I had one girl that I was like obsessed with in high school. Not even really obsessed with her.
And that didn't matter now.
I just really liked her. And then looking back, I was like, wow, she was not a good person. I don't know why. That was a terrible idea.
Much less that amount of time, emotional
Dude.
time in something.
Dude, I'm talking about like angry, dark fucking emotions, just getting mad all the time. I was like, now it was never towards her. It was never directed at her. It was just like, why doesn't this girl like me when I'm
obsessed.
Yeah,
it wasn't
I am
really-
the person for her. If she just understood and looked, I'm the person for her.
well, it's just like, I care about her so much. Why didn't she care back for me? And then
Yeah.
I was like,
Why do you care about someone that doesn't even care?
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I know exactly.
And then you turn,
I think all guys go through that. I think
you got that one girl that just breaks your spirit, and after that, you're just like, can't trust a bitch.
Well, there's a
I don't
reason
mean that.
why.
Respect women.
I
Respect
think,
women.
I honestly think all guys go through an asshole phase
yeah.
because of that, and I think it's all part of becoming a man.
Mm-hmm.
Really, and feminism doesn't. Feminism does not give a guy a chance to figure these things out.
let's not-
Then there's guys that turn 18, 19, 20 in older years who never go through it because
Mm-hmm.
they are a weirdo, because they are, and all those emotions just keep boiling up, and no one ever goes, hey, guy,
Relax.
we all had those.
Yeah.
We all went through those. You got to let them go. The woman isn't that important. You have to, you know what I'm saying?
I hang out. I produce for Sam Spears, who's still in high school. He's a rapper, and me and him have sat around and just talked about like kids in high school and their relationships and stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, this guy swears he's getting married to so and so." I'm like, "Let me tell you right fucking now, they're gonna go to college.
It's gone. Done.
She's gonna start fucking. He's gonna start fucking. That's gonna be the end of that, and that's natural, dude. Whenever you're 18, 19, 20, 21, you need to just go meet a bunch of fucking people because you really don't know what you
The
like.
chances of
Socialization.
the chance of you finding like that perfect girl in your hometown of a population of 2,000,
Right.
is very
You had to jump how many states?
13 hours towards New Mexico.
I mean, you literally jumped halfway across the United States and happened to land into one.
Yep. I mean, that's how it is. Like, and let's also dispel the myth of a fucking soulmate. Like, that's a statistical, a statistical impossibility
As
that there's one person that's meant for you. Like, there's plenty of people that you're going to click with. It's just a matter of finding the one
That's worth it.
That's worth it. Yeah. You know,
That's you're worth the headache that all human interaction. Everybody you meet, you will have friction with. Me and Dylan have friction, and me and Dylan get along.
me and Dylan never have friction. We just beat the shit out of each other all the
Well,
time.
I mean, but me and Dylan, they're right, Dylan.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times whenever it's like, no, fuck you.
Known you for how long? 4 years?
Yeah, and I mean through thick and through thin, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways,
Dude, very thick.
through very thick and through very thin.
kinky.
But well, in some ways, it is that kind of
damn it,
relationship. You know, it's a deep relationship. Me and Fraley,
Real deep.
me and Dylan have a wide relationship, and we've also experienced the world. I mean, we went halfway around the world together.
We've had our worst moments and
Yeah.
some of our best together.
Together, you know, and so at the moment, whenever I flare out, or he hardly ever flares out anymore. He's aged rapidly over the past 3 years. Hats off to him.
Dylan's pretty temperate, except when he's working out.
He is now.
He starts fucking screaming and crying, and
Underneath there is
It's
a
just
dark,
sloppy.
dark man. But you know,
that's in all of us motherfuckers. Well, that's not true. That's not true.
no, it's not.
There's killers and there's Yeah.
And there's the other type. There's the thing. There's killers, and then there's the cold assassin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then there's the other person who just can't stomach either.
yeah.
You know, and there's wild.
We're not
variations in
necessarily
between.
talking about literal killing for those of us that are watching this video.
Right, but you go through
My
jiu-jitsu,
mom.
right?
What?
Oh, but you know, there's different. Look at jiu-jitsu. Some guys are just like this aggressive, no matter what they do, and then you meet the other guy who's a tactician, who you know everything's this, yeah, and he's just a slow anaconda around you. And it's not that either one of them are right or either one of them are wrong. It's just the perception of who they are and their reality wraps
Yep.
into this expression of themselves.
And you got people like that in every field. You got people that are
Well, I mean, even in working out, okay, so Dylan listens to music and Dylan screams, cusses, you know, he goes through all these emotions and he's listening to wild music the whole entire time.
I can't listen to music while I work out.
No, Dylan-
Our workouts
Yeah.
are way too intense.
And then
headphones.
I don't listen to music either. And at first you're like, is that the same reason? And it's not. But Dylan can tell you that while we're running or while I'm working out, the things that I'm saying to myself is dark, you know, but it's because that's how I wrestle with
Pain.
the guy that's in my brain. Yeah. Yeah. It's how I exist.
Dylan's is more. This is one thing I've observed about Dylan. Dylan's is a very like powerful, fast drive to like power through a workout, and mine's much more of a just a slow burn, suffering. Like I'm just gonna keep on. I'm just gonna keep on until I get
That's-
through this.
The one thing about Jake is he does not fucking quit.
Right.
And I want to go ahead and bring the story up because it's one of my
Oh,
favorite.
dude, are we about to
fucking
talk about the
stories.
fucking run?
We're gonna talk about the run.
Jesus
so
Christ.
we've got a 7:56 pace to maintain for 5 miles, and a lot of the guys out here haven't ever really done that output for long distance. And Jake starts off at a 7 flat, just gunning it. And I know Jake, and I've worked out with Jake a few times, and I didn't know Jake to be a runner.
First off, let me preface this story. John was like, "You've got a 5-mile run. It has to be done in 40 minutes. If you can't make it in 40 minutes, pull your name off the fucking fight card."
I was gonna leave that part out.
No, that was my motivation. I was like, "Nah, fuck these guys. These guys can get pulled off the fight
So-
card. I'm not."
So, and I'm advanced runner. I know a lot about running. I've done a marathon, and I know Mackey's done a lot of running. I know Jesse has, and Mike's hanging in there. So we're all keeping this steady 7:30 pace, pacing off each other. And Jake is just fucking 50 yards in front of us, and I'm like, and I couldn't help but
Scared for my life.
I was like, I didn't know Jake ran. Like I didn't know he
know
was
this
like.
about him.
I know he was a long distance runner.
He's kind of built like one.
and
but I'm not.
and he's just way up there. And then at mile 3, we catch him, and Jake is all out of gas.
He's
and
done.
And in all my experience, I've seen so many guys, and I realize now that he just started off hot as fucking shit, and now he has burned up his flame. And I've never seen somebody start off hot like that for 3 miles and have any way back. So whenever we hit 3 miles and we passed him on the levee, I'm a little heartbroken because now I'm like, fuck, Jake's out of gas. Like he's stuck out here.
And to preface this, you have seen guys run 2 miles in vast groups. You've seen guys break all the time in runs.
All the time.
2 miles.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Just let you
Well,
know,
it's a little different when you've done 2 minutes of push-ups.
Yeah.
2 minutes of sit-ups.
it's still weak. It's weak.
I'm with you. I'm a slight preface that they've all. If the guy isn't mentally prepared and he's not physically there, he burns up his flame before he even.
You
gets
got
to
guys
the
that
run.
are repping out push-ups, not
Yeah.
breathing, and
Exactly.
But the moral of the story is any long distance run like that, 5 miles, and somebody burn out on mile 3.
Yeah, they're not gonna
The
make it.
chances of him maintaining even an 8-minute pace for those last 2 is out.
Yeah.
We pass Jake, we leave him at the levee, we're on our way back, and we're just convinced like,
I
damn
hate
it,
this fucking story.
Jake didn't make it, and we got 2 minutes left for the time, and we're all sitting out there stretching. And then we got 1 minute left. And I turn around and I hear Mackie say, "Come on, Jake." And we're on the last 100-meter stretch back to the gym. And here comes Jake, defying all odds. Breaking 40 minutes by about 20 seconds.
Yeah, what I do? It was like 39:30, something like that.
Yeah. And it blew me away because I've seen so many guys, and you burn out. You burnt out
Oh.
on mile 3. You couldn't breathe.
I know better than anybody.
I was there. I was
God.
Dude, I was on the bridge like, I should just throw myself off this thing because I'm not going to make it back. But
And that was an uphill too. You go uphill on
Yeah.
that
Oh,
bridge.
yeah, that
so that
bridge
was another
fucking
thing.
sucks.
We left you on the levee, and I know the bridge is an uphill. I was like, there's no way he can come back and still push out the 7:30 pace.
I was like,
Moral of the story: Jake don't quit.
well,
Jake does
Well,
not quit.
I think long runs are important, and I'll tell you why I think long runs are important. And I suck at them. Lord knows that I'm not Mr. Fast Runner. I
Oh.
just keep shuffling, keep
yeah,
shuffling.
that's how I am.
But the reason I think the long run is important is that you may think you know yourself. You may think you know who you
get
are.
real intimate with yourself in
But
those
you're going to
moments.
get, and that's why I don't like the headphones. I want to have that heart to heart with a little man in there, and he's a little man. He really is. You're going to have to. You're not quitting today. I don't care how much your legs are screaming. I don't care why you can't breathe. Today we're going to go. You're going to go. You're going to get to that next light pole. You're going to,
But I think the only reason I
and then the other
have
dark
that,
things you say.
and like the only way I've gotten through all these workouts, I think the only reason I have that, because I am definitely not the most physically capable person in camp. It's probably Dylan or Jesse. They're both fucking animals. It's just what they do, The only way I get through that is just years of doing jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu is like that, but it's a slower.
Yeah.
It's the dedication of like,
as long as you don't quit.
yeah, it's just I got to show up to the gym. I got to show up to the gym. I got to show up to the gym, and
I have to get myself out there on the mat.
yeah, that once you get used to that, it becomes easier to be like, all right, I've just got to finish this mile. I've just got to make it back to the gym. I just got to do it in under 40 minutes.
That's
Man,
why I
this
like
last set.
That's
And the
why I
thing
like
is-
out and back runs because you got to come back.
If I would have run with you guys, I probably would have hung with you guys and made it in the same time. But Jesse made a fucking joke. Like as soon as we got out there, and he was like, we're behind pace, guys." And as soon as he said that, Dylan knows I fucking gunned it. I was like, I'm not getting cut. I'm not getting
And
cut.
I'm the experienced guy, and I'm like, wait.
Dylan
this
was like,
isn't
no,
good.
don't do it.
Jake, you should hang out with us.
I was like, fuck this shit. I'm not getting cut over some stupid fucking run. And I almost did because I fucking burned myself out. So don't be like Jake, kids. Just
Be smart.
So, how does a guy who constantly gets in fights, who
I don't anymore.
Well,
Let
no,
me
what I'm
say
saying
that.
is, at what point do you develop a love for music? Because you do electronic dance music, you do host parties, you're a DJ. Let's just kind of put it out that way.
Yeah, we can.
Where does that come from? How does that
The
fit
same
into
place.
the puzzle?
Same
It's an
fucking
expression. It's a
I
bleed
started out.
Let him get started, Brock. Shit.
I was actually cutting Brock off. That was rude on my part. I apologize.
We're good. That's the reason I like these headphones. You can tell when it happens.
I was always kind of just I was always interested in like fighting and war and all that kind of stuff from a young age. Like I've always known I wanted to join the military. I really only went to college because like my parents pushed it.
Same thing.
I knew I wanted to go to college, but like after I got done with the military. Now it feels like a real return to form to be doing MMA and getting ready for the Air Force and all that kind of stuff. But when I was a little kid, my dad listened to Metallica and Guns N' Roses and all that kind of stuff. So I got into that kind of music. I started playing the drums when I was like 8. Loved it. Was in a little band with my friends, and then it kind of got to a point where it's like, man, being in a band fucking sucks. You got to get everybody together. I wanted to play just like ugly fucking Viking metal and shit like that. And they're like, let's cover Sweet Child of Mine. I was like, fuck that. I'm playing Sweet Child of Mine, just doing drum fills and hitting cymbals and shit. So that was like 2011. And I started, dubstep had finally made it to America. And I was like, what is this gross, amazing shit? And I was like, I got to figure out how to make this stuff. So I started fucking around with a little program called LMMS, which is a free DAW, digital audio workstation, and had no idea what I was doing. I was just making like experimental. I knew nothing about mixing and mastering. I really didn't even know how to write melodies or anything. I really just knew how to program drums, and that was it. And then, so I fucked around with that a little bit. Then I started doing jiu-jitsu, and that all kind of fell by the wayside. And then about my senior year in high school, I was like, DJing sounds fun. I'll learn how to do that. And then, so I bought a MIDI controller and just started learning how to DJ. And then I bought a better MIDI controller with all my graduation money and started really getting into it. And then I moved down to Baton Rouge. And still never played a gig. I met a guy named Jacob. Shouts out to Jacob down in New Orleans.
Jake and Jake.
Jake and Jacob. Because he didn't call. Well, he may call me Jacob. I don't fucking know. I can't keep up with all this
Were
shit.
y'all intimate?
No, that's gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
But it is literally.
But me and him started hanging out. He's a really good musician. He's a much better musician than I am. But he and I started hanging out and DJing. We just fucked around at some house parties and stuff. And then that was when I was at LSU. And then I got done at LSU. Decided to move back home. Missed the gym for the most part. That was really what brought me back.
I mean, that was when I noticed that, like, part of that time I was deployed. Me and Dylan were deployed. And then I come back and I'm like, where'd Jake go? Because, just preface this, me and Jake do train together, and Dylan as well, if that hadn't become obvious to you already. And, I mean, I met Jake when he was 15. I mean...
young, little baby-faced kid.
6 years ago. I mean, Dylan, he has a lot of mat time. I'm telling you.
No,
But,
I know.
I mean, it becomes obvious once you start rolling with him. Oh, he knows where he's going. But, I mean, and just to say it, I mean, Jake was dedicated to the mat at that time.
Well,
I mean, you say you kind of fell off on music a little bit, and I'm assuming that there was really nothing much other than jiu-jitsu, right? Because it seemed like you were there.
Well, let me explain why I started doing jiu-jitsu. I knew when I was really young I wanted to be a fighter pilot, but I wanted to be a fighter pilot because of air-to-air combat. I wanted to shoot motherfuckers down. And then I figured out that they don't really dogfight anymore. They have fucking drones.
We've kind of moved past the age of the dogfight.
Wasn't there a dogfight recently?
Recently, the first air-to-air kill since like 2003.
And you got to understand, we way outclassed the MiG.
Yeah,
that was in the air. Not just sort of kind of outclassed. We're talking about like 5 generations of forward.
So then I wanted to be a Army Ranger. So I was like, I got to do some stuff now to start getting in shape for that. Whenever I turn 18, I can join the military. So that's kind of how I started doing jiu-jitsu. I was training with Barry Teague before that, just doing some self-defense stuff. That's when I started arm locking kids in the locker room, and that kind of people stop fucking around with you whenever they're like, okay, I'm going to get a limb broken or I'm going to get choked unconscious.
It's
like,
different to be knocked out than it is
Yeah.
to walk around in a cast for.
I
8
knocked a
weeks.
couple kids out with like knees and shit, and like that scares people, but broken arms really scare people because they know they're going to have to explain that shit. So that's kind of how my jiu-jitsu started, and I was stupid out of shape whenever I got into jiu-jitsu. It got me in decent shape. I was stupid out of shape when I started MMA, and I've just kept my nose to the fucking grindstone. And really, if it wasn't for Dylan, I have no idea how I would have made it through this shit. Because Dylan,
He's a good.
I
He's
have
a good
to look over at
motivation
Dylan, and
giver.
Dylan's just, and I'm like, I got to keep grinding. And Dylan's like, come on, Jake, come on. I'm like, I can't let Dylan down. He's that's my fucking guy. But so, whenever I went to Baton Rouge, I realized what a big fucking difference it is training at Crone Gracie Jiu-Jitsu of West Monroe.
Shout out.
Shouts out. John Blunchy does an amazing fucking job at running that gym. Because I went down there, I was tapping guys that were teaching classes, and I'm not talking about like kind of tapping them. I'm talking about 8 seconds into the roll, rear naked choke, Dunsky, like not even really being challenged. And then, so jiu-jitsu was kind of like central to my personality. Like, to understand me really as a person, you have to be around jiu-jitsu for a little while to really understand, like, the inner workings of how I think. Because jiu-jitsu people think differently. It's just how we are. So I was like, I came home. I trained for a little while during the summer. And I remember being at the gym one night. This was kind of early in the summer, and John was like, yeah, from now on, we're going to get together as a team. We're going to go to these tournaments. We're going to do these MMA fights. We're going to kick ass. And I went home that night and cried because I was like, fuck, I'm going to have to go back to Baton Rouge, and I'm going to miss all of that. So I came downstairs the next morning, and I was hanging out with my mom. And she was like, when are you going to go back to LSU? And blah, 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 blah. And I just started crying. I, like, broke down. I was like, I don't want to go back. I want to stay here. I want to train. And, you know.
It's family.
Yeah, like. You're really not as close to people that you haven't rolled with. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just a certain closeness. Like, I know a lot about Dylan just from scrapping with Dylan, you know? I know when Dylan gets punched in the face, he doesn't go back. He tucks his chin and comes forward, you know?
Right.
Those are important characteristics to me.
I mean, this is the thing about combat. This is the thing about war. And one of the things that's beautiful to me about jiu-jitsu is it's as close as you can probably get and still be able to come back to it continuously and not have.
Yeah, you can't keep up the sparring schedule that we have for very long.
But, you know what I'm saying? One of the beautiful things about jiu-jitsu is that me and Dylan can roll. I can kill Dylan. We chuckle, we slap
love
hands
to.
and keep going. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, versus every other form
It's-
of a way to get there is.
You know, we don't think about it much, but there's a level of intimacy to
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
definitely.
And that sounds like a weird word to use, but like the positional sparring, like I'm sweating into your face, and you're not going to be this close to any other human being besides your spouse or besides your girlfriend. And you notice with new guys that
Or
come
someone
in,
that you're killing.
They're not
somebody-
used to that.
Yeah, when new guys come in, they're like, okay, put your hand on my shoulder. And
Quit
he's
having
always,
flashbacks.
He's always like, put your hand on my shoulder, and he kind of barely wants to touch you.
Yeah.
or, you
Yeah,
know,
like
bear hug defense. And
I mean,
it's
that
like,
happened today.
Yeah,
that happened today.
I got headbutted this morning, and he was like, "Oh, dude, I'm sorry." I was like, "Bro, I get kicked in the head every fucking day.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not worried about you headbutting me."
Or guys like come into my guard and like he gets between your legs and he's trying to sit as far back as he can. They're like, no, come here.
It's like,
Yeah,
if
we
I
were-
wanted to fuck you, I would just do it. There's nothing you can do to stop me, so quit worrying about it.
Well, I mean, you know, we were doing hip tosses, and me and Dylan both had people that it was like their first class today.
Yeah, I did as well.
And yeah, oh yeah, you did it. And the funny thing about the hip toss is that he.
Shouts out to the new guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope they come back again.
You guys were awesome.
They really were. But he didn't want to put his hand around my hip, you know, and I just had to, you know, kind of, dude.
Well, you think about
It's-
how often
it's fine.
people that don't do jujitsu, how often is he going to be right next to another man, a complete stranger, and then holding his waist?
Yeah.
Like there's a level of trust.
But that shows you how pathetic our fucking
Society.
is.
I don't know. I don't want to go around hugging strangers.
But
No,
like-
but at the same time, I mean, part of
You've showered with men in basic. Like, it's not.
right.
Like, that
you've
shouldn't
moved past
be
it.
weird. You're just fucking showering.
Yeah.
Nobody's fucking trying to pork anybody in the basic training. Okay, there may be like one or two, but
they stopped me after the first one.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Being comfortable. I mean, and there's even this Hicks and Gracie has this huge quote that we have on that poster about being comfortable
Uncomfortable,
or
yeah.
being comfortable in an uncomfortable situation, going into that little piece of hell and being okay with it.
We're not even going that far though. We're just
Yeah, we
talking
are.
about-
Have you forgotten how
No.
claustrophobic you felt the first time somebody was on top side control and you couldn't breathe, you couldn't move?
I just got beat up.
yeah.
But see,
I'm too hard headed.
you've accepted that. You accepted that maybe even long before the first time me and you ever rode.
How was that new guy rolling with you today? I mean, like, they're
Scared.
full speed.
Yeah,
just
he
fucking,
would go from all the way forward to all the way back.
Yeah.
You know,
there's no
and-
in between.
And, you know, I'm literally just trying to move slow, trying to show him, hey, you know. And at one point, you know, he comes up and he, you know, and you're like,
You forget to breathe.
it's okay.
It's a dance. It's a dance. You gotta figure
Yeah.
out.
We were talking about music, and we did exactly what we said we weren't going to do, and jumped on the fighting wagon and fucking rode that sumbitch all the way down the Oregon Trail.
I don't know. We're going, I'm talking about it. I try to talk about it through the philosophical perspective because you're right. It does, jiu-jitsu guys think differently. Soldiers think differently because that little bit of the brain that gets rewired in these situations where you realize that, oh, existence is pain.
Yeah,
You know, to go forward, I have to be uncomfortable. To go forward, I may roll out of the bed. I may never be able to stand
You're
up
really
out of
close
the
to
bed
that
again.
mic, homie.
Sorry. I may never be able to stand up to the bed, out of the
He
bed
gets
again.
excited.
yeah.
I got to roll out of the bed.
Yeah,
You know, I have to literally, I sometimes have to shrimp out of the bed.
but it's fucking worth it.
it's worth it every time.
But yeah, that's how I ended up back in West Money.
Oh shit, we went back through
Yeah,
conversations.
I know. I
Okay.
know. This has been the whole podcast we've been doing this. But so I ended up back in West Monroe. I linked up with Graham. You guys know Graham.
Shout out to Graham.
Shout out to the Hulk.
Shout out to Graham. Garrett was also my best buddy. He was at LSU. He also came back. We didn't really hang out in high school. We didn't really hang out before at LSU. Well, we did a couple times, but we started really hanging out whenever I got back to ULM. And so we formed a little, actually, this is even before that. Damn. This is such a long, twisting path. Like, my musical journey has been just I wouldn't have gotten through it without my experiences in jiu-jitsu.
This is why you don't do 10-minute interviews.
Yeah. But so I linked up with those guys. We were hanging out one night, and I was trying to get a gig at a rave for my brother's. My brother was going into his senior year. They wanted to have this rave, so I was like, I'm the only rave DJ in this motherfucker. And Garrett was like, oh, dude, I know the people that are booking it. Let me make a call real quick. He calls them. They're like, oh, yeah, that sounds awesome. So Garrett books this show. We put so much fucking work into that. And if you don't know what trap music is a form of electronic dance music that's fused with the sounds of dirty South hip hop. And that's kind of the music I was playing at the time. Still play. That's my bread and butter. So Garrett was like, yo, do you have anything to like fall back on if they don't dig that? And I was like, no. I live or die by the trap. So we did that party. Everybody was like, that's the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life. So I was like, this is what we're doing now, boys. And so we formed a little company called Spaceplane Promotions. We threw a couple more raves.
Not those ones in Ruston. Was that y'all?
Which one?
Okay. Yeah,
So obviously there's a yes in there somewhere.
We didn't put it on, but I played a show at the Rev that was a paint party.
okay, yeah, I saw
yeah,
that. What was
yeah.
that, about 2 months ago?
That was the night you were fighting at
Okay.
Battlegrounds 2? Yeah, March 25th on the wall
Okay.
there. So I played that night. I had my Gracie Jiu-Jitsu shirt on because you guys were fighting, so I was like, got to rep the homies.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the end of my DJing journey. So we're still at the beginning when we're throwing these raves. I hadn't really been producing too much at the time. I'd really just been focusing on DJing. My approach to DJing is very old school with like new technology. So I beat match everything by ear. I do all like the technical shit that DJs have had to do forever. I'm not one of those guys that just has a computer and fucking
lets it figure it out.
You said beat match. What is
beat matching? Is where so you have when you're mixing, the goal is to keep the music flowing, so you can't tell
when you're going from one song to another or one sound to
another. And
another.
that's kind of at the most rudimentary level. That's the art of DJing. And so to do that, if you have songs at two different tempos, you have to slow one down or speed one up to get them at the same tempo. A lot of guys just hit sync on their laptop and it does it for you, but the computer's fucking stupid and doesn't know when it sounds like shit. So if you do it by ear, you just know. But you have to teach yourself to do that. And people, we know from jiu-jitsu, some people just don't want to put the time in. They just want to jump to being great.
Go to my YouTube video, learn the newest cool side control.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at this cool new guard pass.
And so I put all that time in, and then there was guys when I started playing the raves and stuff, and these are like 4-hour sets at these raves. These are taxing sets,
right?
Because if you know anything about trap music, it's hard, it's aggressive, and that's what I love about it. It's the musical embodiment of just like that fucking animal, you know, that animal that comes out in the MMA sparring, the animal that comes out during the workout. It's the embodiment of that in musical form. So every time I'm playing, I'm just going hard as fuck. The first one we put on, actually, I almost threw up because I was going so fucking hard for so fucking long. And so we did that, and then I started producing. I started making mashups and stuff. We did some stuff. I got on a festival. That went like shit. Guy that put that on, you still owe me money if you're watching this. You know who
Where's
you
my
are.
money, Brian? Where's my money, Brian?
His name's Brian.
Ooh.
And he owes me money.
But you get the Family Guy reference, though, right?
Yeah, of course. So I did that. I
Brock,
played.
are you a psychic?
He might be.
No.
Bitch, I might be.
Is that Gucci Mane?
Yeah, exactly.
That was funny. Did you ever read that story?
I did.
He goes to court, and the
Was
judge.
that real? I could
Yeah,
never
no,
find out.
no. Yeah.
I never snoopsed it.
From what I
Snopes
understand, I'll
everything.
Snopes it right now. But yeah, the judge asked him, "Are you guilty?" And yeah, bitch, I might be.
So I did that. Then I played in Austin at a club, which was a big deal for me. There wasn't a lot of people there, but I got to play on CDJs, so that was nice. And then I did Glow Rage the night you guys were. I mean, I've done a lot of shit. I've just forgotten about a lot of it. A lot of the most interesting stories come from the shows that didn't go well, which were the fraternity shows.
Oh, God.
If you're in a fraternity and you call me to play your party, I will hang up on you. I do not want to hang out with you and your bro-hos at your fucking circle jerk. So I'm not going to be the pivot man. That's y'all's problem. And it's because of one fraternity show. The fraternity, I'm not going to out them because a lot of the guys in there were good guys. But me, Graham, and Garrett almost had to fight like 20-plus frat boys. And it was not pretty. Over $400. Like, they tried to rip us off of $400. And
Wow.
bitch better have my money. I'm not backing down when there's $400 on the table, you know? This is not McDonald's. You cannot call me out to play your show, and then if you don't like it, you know, I'm not making you a new hamburger. You get the hamburger I made, and that's that. I don't do requests. I'm not a fucking jukebox. Garrett told them what I played. I showed up, and they didn't like it, and they can suck a dick because I don't care.
See, when I think of DJing, I know absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So you
Most people don't.
Given all your stories and everything, it's blowing my mind because you talked about the guy behind the computer.
Yeah.
That clicks buttons.
That's what
and
everybody.
songs.
That's what everybody thinks about because they're used to going to the bar and there's a guy there that's playing the cha-cha slide and
And
the
it's
wobble.
like, hey, can I get some of this? And he goes, all right, I'll play it in 3 songs.
No, you can get what I'm playing and you
that's-
can fuck off.
You're a whole different type of DJ.
Well, that's because he's built this going in. He's built and correct me if I'm misunderstanding here, but you're saying that you built an experience, one song to the next. It's going to be this flawless transition.
And you will fucking
know?
enjoy it if you will zip your fucking fly and just enjoy the.
Yeah, look at my artwork. Don't
Yeah.
try to tell me what paintbrush I should be using.
And if you go to any serious club, that's how it is. Just people around here aren't used to that.
Exactly.
They're used to the bar where
The
you
fact
can.
that you have like
Jukebox.
your level
Yeah.
of DJ and raves and things like that, like I can barely.
there was
fathom
there
that
was
being-
nobody doing it around here until me, Garrett, and Graham were like, we can make some money doing this. And I mean, we've had to stop now because of just the liability, and there were a lot of churches that were not pleased with our our goings on.
Welcome to the Bible Belt.
Yeah, and like nothing crazy ever popped off. We were very professional. We always had security. We had police on scene. We had water if anybody got too hot. Like we were very careful about when people think rave, they think bunch of sweaty people meeting up at a warehouse dropping acid, and
Yeah,
then
that's what I thought you meant.
yeah, that didn't happen. If you did that, you did that in the car. It was not our
And then
fucking.
brought it- yeah.
It was not. We did not encourage anything like that
So
because
you're
it's.
telling me you won't sell me acid.
I see. People also think DJs are drug dealers. I don't deal drugs.
I
I've never.
assumed you were a computer guy with drugs. Whenever you said DJ and rave, that's all I.
And see, the spectrum of DJ ranges from, and this is kind of why I've gotten pissed off with DJing. Is the last show I played? Did I name it? I didn't name it, did I?
I don't think.
I think I'm still under contract, so I can't name the particular show. But the
don't
guys,
think you did.
the guys that were playing after me were very much those kind of guys that babysit a computer, and it's frustrating to me to be. I was the only producer on the entire show.
Yeah.
I'm the only guy making his own music on the show, and so why should I be the guy that's opening it? And I know you have to pay your dues, but at this point, at least in this area, I've paid my dues. You know,
Yeah.
I've played shows that. Well, actually, I need to talk about Two True. Shouts out to Two True. They were the other electronic act around here. Theirs was a more softer style, but we clicked, we hung out. They're great guys. They've moved off now and gone on to other things. I think Daniel's still producing his Kid Melody. Check him out on SoundCloud. He makes really interesting stuff. But we did stuff at like Live Oaks and stuff like that. So we've done some serious shows.
You've
for this
done
area.
some of the biggest stages around here.
Yeah, the Live Oaks really is the biggest live music.
They pull, and then they may be slightly older acts, but they pull
Yeah,
level A acts.
Yeah.
That you recognize the names, like
And-
national. Yeah. So
people. Dan Street was at that show, and he was like, "This is the craziest shit I've ever seen in Monroe, Louisiana." And so for me to get booked on a show and be the opening act for some guys that are playing, motherfucker literally played the wobble. I was like, "Come on, dude, this is
Well, that's the standard, isn't it?
fuck you."
See, look, you gotta understand. I've never seen a real DJ.
Yeah, but like that stuff shouldn't be going on at a grown folks event. You know what I'm saying? That's stuff you play at, the kids dance and stuff like that. Whenever we're talking about
if you're
rave,
hired for the prom,
yeah, whenever we're talking about a rave, and that's what this was. This was a paint party. You don't play that kind of shit. That's juvenile, That's not to say I don't mix in rap music and all this other stuff. Like I play a lot of different kinds of music.
But if they
it's,
play that, they're just playing someone else's shit.
they're playing somebody else's shit to appease the crowd, and actually it backfired. Because when I was playing, people were like jumping around and stuff, and then I got off the stage and was standing there just watching, and I was like, people are not moving at all. They want that high energy shit that was going on a minute ago. But a lot of my problems with that show was that I was told what I can and cannot play, and I don't fuck with that.
Why were there those boundaries?
Because they have their big headlining DJs that they want to look really good, so they want me to play softer stuff. And I mean, that's kind
So
of...
you were kind of the
well, if he's the opening act,
Yeah, the fluffer.
he's the
fluffer.
And I mean, I'm okay with playing an opening set, and I'm going to play an opening set, but don't tell me what genres I can and cannot play. I will play opening set appropriate material in that genre, but I'm not going to...
Yeah,
completely
It's one
cut.
thing if the headline DJ goes, "Hey, bro, don't play anything out of this one song in particular because this is like my song.
Yeah, this is what
You
I'm
know?
going to play.
So
you
just
know?
please don't, if you could, and
and
it establish. But I guess this goes back to it's all about how you approach people.
Yeah.
right?
Well, they had some bad experiences with local DJs in the past, and I was like, dude, I've been around for a minute. Like, I'm not. What I call that guy earlier, Dick Cheese McFuckface.
Yes.
I'm not DJ Dick Cheese McFuckface. You know, I have some experience. I know what I'm doing. Like, they wouldn't let me have a microphone and some other stuff. I'm probably gonna get sued for saying all this, but they can suck a dick.
No.
Hmm?
No.
I'm not. That's good
No.
because I didn't name them, right?
In case you didn't know, Gorilla Banter Podcast LLC, Gorilla Banter Entertainment LLC, is an entertainment-only podcast. All views expressed in this is for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah.
For all you know, none of this actually happened.
Fuck yourselves. But
Fact.
Give Brock.
So
LLC,
most of the-
he owns the
yeah,
world.
most of the reason
Once again, I own my cave.
Bush did 9/11.
most of the reason I'm out or not DJing actively right now is just because I fucking hate dealing with people. Like, I hate dealing with the bullshit. Promoters want to bullshit you.
Doesn't that come with it though?
Where did the
I mean,
name?
it comes with it, but
Yeah. Where did the name Astrocraft come from?
I get asked this a lot, and it's really not that glorious of a story.
I don't care.
I was
tell
at
me a
LSU.
non-glorious story.
I was at LSU in an astronomy class, and I was daydreaming, and she said something about we were talking about stars or something, and I was like, if I was a spacecraft going through a sun, I would be a solar craft, and if I was a plane traveling through the cosmos, I'd be an astrocraft, and something just. And I was like, that's my fucking name. I've got it. And it just stuck ever since. Annabelle drew this logo, and that's been it ever since.
I just want to know what kind of drugs you have to be on
Dude,
to.
I don't even think I had drank at that time.
Solar craft, Astro.
Like he said, he was daydreaming. He was just
Yeah, I never drank alcohol until I got
a man can travel many a mile in his head.
towards the end of my first semester in college. I had never drank alcohol before.
So let's listen to something. I'm going to your SoundCloud. I put on your SoundCloud.
Oh shit! Am I gonna hear a real DJ?
You're gonna hear me. Well, these are my productions. I don't have any
these
like
are
my
productions.
I haven't recorded any of my sets and put those on.
Let's see. Club Killer.
I like that one.
Let's do Club Killer. So I literally just went to a SoundCloud.
That's mine. I'm not going to get flagged. We're not going to get flagged for that. So,
Well, I mean, unless you had a conversation about some copyright.
well, no, all the samples on that are cleared.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like it wasn't even.
Oh yeah, we'll
person.
bitch about copyright in a minute.
All right, so hold on. Let's see. This is gonna be Astrocraft Club Killer. This is off of his SoundCloud. You can literally Google it and go get it.
Free download.
Free to downloads. But
You
let's
say
just
free.
yeah.
I said free, motherfucker.
like
That
free
real
shit.
art is just given.
Ah,
Oh, hold on. Hold on.
Real art.
All right, so Astrocraft.
I'm getting pumped up.
Dylan's already in another place.
He's going to rip that can in half in a minute. This riser's like 5 minutes long, I swear to God. I'm thinking about it.
Drink it. Do it.
Mask in the booth cause I'm a club killer.
All right, now we're at the outro. Fuck the outro.
All right, so we'll go back.
I want that in a float tank.
And a what?
Float tank?
A float tank.
That'd be so badass.
What the fuck is a float tank? You gotta explain to me.
Yeah, you know what a float tank is.
Isolation chambers?
Isolation
Oh,
chambers.
okay.
Dude, those are so badass.
Why would we listen to that in an isolation
Because I
chamber?
feel like I can go on a trip.
Because there's nothing else, and that's all
Can you
there
imagine
is.
just floating through space in darkness with that playing?
I'd love your music if that was the only thing literally in the room.
The only thing in my existence.
Yeah.
I just
But
want
you know, in
that.
some ways, that's saying if he was on a deserted island, that's what he wants. So
I guess.
That's awesome.
That.
Sounded cool. I like that.
Thanks.
I understand what you're saying though about the animal part. Like you feel like
Yeah.
I have
And-
to go there. I have to start moving. I have to.
And that's like I have much more aggressive songs that I just haven't
See, I want some of those.
I haven't released into the wild yet. Like that's pretty aggressive, but that's not something I'm like. That's not the most aggressive thing I've got. I've got to finish those songs before I leave for basic, and I'll put them up on SoundCloud. I'll get working on that more once the fight's over, because like that little fucking song took that's like 60 something channels on a DAW that I had to sit there
Yeah.
and fucking mix
I
and
don't even know how many 60 channels is. Is that a lot?
We
That's a
operate
lot.
on 4.
yeah.
Wait, what?
So like
I didn't even know we operated on channels.
Well, technically, we operate on 5 whenever we put in something like a phone call or
yeah. And so that's
layers like a cake, right?
yeah, it's layers.
no, like an onion.
Like an onion cake?
And there was originally supposed to be I'll eventually release the extended version of that because there's a second drop that I got to mixing and was just like, this is too much. I need to chill.
I've gone too far.
It got way too hard style, way too quick. But you know, I make a lot of different types of music. I've got stuff on my laptop right now. It's just like bouncy fucking house tunes, and then I've got stuff that's like it's just robot noises.
What do you think about people that only have rock music? Or they only have... Because I'm a man that... I listen to everything.
Yeah, I listen to everything
I can go
except country. Fuck
all-
country.
I mean, I listen to country. I mean,
Certain types of
Yeah,
country.
no, I like
New age
old.
country.
I like old country. I
Hank
really do.
Williams Jr.
I'm thinking.
I mean,
Do you like Wheeler Walker Jr.? Have you listened to him? No, you really?
we're gonna change your world.
We're gonna have to bring you to that.
He's you know how country always has that taste in your mouth where it's like it always feels censored, right?
yeah.
Like even older country, like there's always
Well,
they're,
the
like,
new
holding
country is more. It's pop music with country.
This
so
guy
It's-
is a mature record. It is
Yeah.
explicit. He uses
there is a lot
whatever
of country
word he wants to use.
that's like that. But you got to dig for that kind of stuff. It's like, I mean, it's like EDM. Like I don't consider myself an EDM artist because EDM is very just like.
It's so wide, right? I mean,
Well, it's a really wide term. First of all, I don't like saying EDM is like saying music made with a guitar. Because it's basically just saying this is music that's made with a computer. It's electronic dance music. So if I said music made with a guitar, that includes everything from Viking metal down to, folk
pop
music.
Yeah, pop music, folk music.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So it's a really stupid term. I consider myself like a bass music producer. I make stuff with a heavier low end and more emphasis on like aggression,
Yeah, genres and subgenres really are hard when it comes
Yeah.
to music, especially in today's age.
And like house, you can dive into like, I swear to God, every different song in house is a different genre because it's just so, like, there's so many different types of it.
Well, I really want to know though, like people that only listen to one genre of anything. Like,
I mean,
what
you
do
can fuck off because I'm.
Like, I just feel like they're missing out on so much because I don't really listen
don't
to
think-
EDM or anything. But when I hear it, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, check
Yeah.
this out. This is something brand new. It's a brand new flavor. Like, how?
You know what I think the issue is? Top 40 radio
Oh yeah, definitely.
of anything, right? You go to the rock station, they play the top 40 of the rock. You go to the pop station, they play the top 40 of the pop. You go to the country station, and you hear the top 40 of the-
10.
yeah, and just over and over. And yeah, that's the issue because this is just like anime, right?
Yeah.
I don't watch cartoons. Whoa. What kind of TV shows do you like? I like horror stories. All right, sit down. We're gonna put
There's
on
horror animation.
We're gonna put on, Vampire D.
I'm a
go
big
old
fan of
school,
animation, by the way, like animated shorts.
Yeah.
love
So
that
I
kind of
mean, people. I guess what I'm saying is people view the world through their little window, and no one ever told them, "Hey, there's a door." Go
Not even
walk out
really the
door.
window. They view it through like that camera
corner,
lens.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. And part of it's not their fault. But the older they get, the more it's their fault, in my opinion, because they have not chosen to walk
Well,
the path.
and with the internet nowadays, like most of my sets, whenever I play DJ sets, are made up of songs that I found on SoundCloud and downloaded for free. Like totally separate of the label, the record label sort of infrastructure,
Yeah, I mean that's part of the beauty of the internet. I didn't have to find somebody that would let me on the airwaves for this.
You can do like you can. There's no excuse nowadays to not say, okay, this top 40 stuff kind of sucks balls. I'm gonna go
no one
find
holding you back.
Yeah, there's nothing holding you back, and that's not to say that there isn't some good pop music out there. But this is the thing with pop music. If you know anything about engineering audio, if you listen to pop music, it's engineered and the dynamics are crushed in such a way that it's really loud. It's louder than the other music. This is why classical music is never played on the radio. It's because of the dynamic range. It goes from quiet to loud, and then it goes back to quiet. Pop music is always fucking loud.
Yeah, and it's actually the beats per minute are programmed for you to move. They don't realize the kind of crack cocaine they're being given.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's the crack cocaine of music. And EDM gets that way sometimes.
Refined sugar.
But like when I play sets, I play every tempo from 90 up to 180. So it's like you're going to get a little bit of everything. You're going to get trap, you're going to get rap music, you're going to get dubstep, you're going to get drum and bass. And that's because that's all the stuff I listen to. Even like just within electronic music, I listen to so much different stuff that I have to play it. And I used to start all of my sets out with what's the fucking Guns N' Roses song? Knocking on Heaven's Door. I used to start all of my sets with that, and then I would mix it into like an electronic song, and people used to be like, "What the fuck? That's insane!" But that's like me harking back to the time I spent, listening to music with my dad, listening to Guns N' Roses and stuff like that.
Well, that's I guess in many ways, just to say it again, that's your paintbrush.
Yeah,
that's
and like. But nowadays, it's like, okay, I listen to these rappers. That's what I listen to. That's all I listen to. Metalheads, I love metal with every fiber of my being. But some metalheads just cannot listen to anything else. Shouts out to my boy Brendan. He's a super talented musician, and he's been involved with the writing process and some of my tracks and just giving me feedback and stuff. Because I know if a metalhead will listen to it and be like, fuck yeah, this slaps, then that's the kind of energy I want in my songs.
What up, Brandon?
Huh?
I said, what up, Brandon?
I mean, that is
Brendan's
interesting,
tight as
right?
fuck. I love
that
Brendan.
you're right, though. There are metal guys that all of the music's too weak.
Yeah. And I agree with them. I want to pillage and kill, and, I'm down with that. But you got to listen to other stuff, man. Whenever I'm riding home from the gym, if I'm listening to just dubstep and just getting crunk as fuck heading home from the gym, I'm not going to sleep.
Exactly.
I'm going to be in there 12 o'clock in the morning fucking repping push-ups out on the floor, just getting crunk. So whenever I head home from the gym, I know I just have to put on some beats, some slow beats, or I got to listen to some reggae, or,
it's got to be something chill.
Vivaldi. I love fucking Vivaldi, man. The Four Seasons. If you're not listening to the Four Seasons, what are you doing with your life?
I tell you one thing that's interested me over the past couple of years is when someone like, what's their name, Apocalyptica, will take like a heavy metal song, like a Metallica song or something like that, and they string quartet it.
Yeah, that's
and you
awesome.
listen to it and you're like, what?
Yeah.
It's like someone remade your favorite cake with a whole different flavor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because there's
Not even that.
like
They made it into a whole new food.
Yeah.
Like they made a pasta out of it.
But it looks like the same pasta.
Yeah.
you
it's
still
crazy.
get the same emotion, but like one of the things that's always interested me is that like there will be a violin that does the vocal melody part. That you're like, oh, that's the voice, but it's moving.
So let's talk about the emotional content of music real quick, because I think that's the most important part of music.
I think
and
that's what music's supposed to be.
That's my biggest problem with pop music, is that pop music gives you all these frilly sort of vibes, and that's not my day-to-day life. I don't live that. A lot of times I'm in the gym, I'm mad, I'm working, I'm trying to work hard, I've got goals I'm pursuing. So whenever I'm doing that, I have to be listening to something that taps
Reflects
into
that,
that. Yeah. So, and then when I'm on the way home and I need to chill out, I need to listen to something that reflects that, you
Yeah.
know? But being fucking Taylor Swift does not reflect any part of my life, so I'm not going to enjoy it. Now, if you're a 16-year-old girl and, you know, you've broken up with a bunch of boyfriends or whatever, maybe that taps into something with you.
We've all had Taylor Swift moments.
No, I've never had one.
Dare you not speak against Lady Swift?
Fuck Lady Swift.
I honestly, I mean, I'll be honest with you.
I've
gotten
never
to the
met
point-
Taylor Swift.
I've gotten to the point in my life where I just put on different types of podcasts and just drive. I don't want the rest of the world. You know, it's just
Yeah. I love podcasts now too. I just recently got into podcasts. It really wasn't until you guys started podcasting and I started listening to some of y'all's stuff, and then started listening to like Jocko Willink and Joe Rogan and all that good stuff.
We got you turned on a podcast?
Yeah, pretty much. Like
Dylan, you affect people. Get over it.
podcasting is such like a subculture.
Especially here.
Yeah.
Especially here. You know, one of the things that I didn't do this because it was cool.
Yeah.
You know,
Podcasting's dorky as fuck. Like you're sitting with a bunch of dudes fucking talking about
whatever.
literally random shit.
But one of the things that struck me is that it's a East Coast, West Coast thing.
Yeah.
And here, I literally talk to 20-year-olds and tell them I have a podcast, and they go, "What's that?"
Yeah.
And you literally have to go, "Whoa, wait a second.
What are you doing?
People literally don't know that there's an internet radio out there, that they don't have
That's
to turn
way
on
more
that,
important than the regular radio.
that it's already gotten bigger than a lot of media
Can't
outlets.
stand regular radio.
No,
Can't do
yeah,
it.
it's terrible.
Yeah, let me blast an ad in your face every 30 seconds. Yeah, so, I mean...
It's not even that. It's just the complete lack of creativity. Like,
everything's so
if I go from
structured.
one hip hop station to the next hip hop station, they're playing the same shit. If I go from one rock
Talking
station
about
to
the
the
same
next,
shit.
talking about the same shit. One rock station to the next rock station, same shit. One country station to the next country station, it's the same shit. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter what the regional.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, if you were in Detroit, techno came from Detroit. Techno is. If you don't know what techno is, you're gonna have to look it up. I'm not gonna explain techno to you.
I thought techno was like EDM.
No.
Oh,
Stop.
God.
Stop.
Look, you underestimate my ignorance.
Techno came out of Detroit. So back in the day, techno was on the radio in Detroit because that was a local sound. Well, then big radio came in and everything got homogenized, and you know everything became one sound throughout the whole country. And while that's good for us to have like a common sort of
Yeah,
like listening
culture,
tape,
just
yeah.
a common cultural thread.
That's good to some extent, but at the same time, if I'm in New Orleans, I need to be hearing local New Orleans sounds as well, you know?
I
Yeah.
still find that true, though, because I go out to West Texas and New Mexico a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
as soon as you get about 2 hours past Dallas, that's whenever the Hispanic station
Yeah,
starts.
shouts out to the Hispanic stations because
screaming.
they
They don't quit.
don't give a
Like
fuck.
for every English station there is in El Paso, there is an equivalent Mexican.
And I think
station.
that's good. Like, there's a lot of Hispanics out there.
Yeah.
They should have a radio
They're-
station that caters to them.
And the culture is 100% real. You don't
Yeah.
stop hearing. I mean, I think even in Dallas.
I
you
got
still-
I today.
Yeah, Lily, she did, didn't you? What
What
did you say?
I don't even remember. I had her on speaker. Me and Jake just we started.
I was cracking up, bro.
It's not as drawn out as a lot of people think. Ay ay ay. It's more like ay ay ay.
Yeah, it was so quick. I almost didn't catch it, and I was like, "Wow, that's beautiful."
God, I could not drink caffeine, bro.
Dude, you're tweaking
It's
out.
fucking me.
No,
up.
Tweak
drink
it
it.
out.
Drink it. I'm not drinking
You
that,
haven't even
dude.
drank it, have you? Wait,
No,
Josh,
that's
ain't
just
even
from that
banged.
coffee earlier,
all you
bro.
had was coffee.
Yeah, dude. Like, I do not handle caffeine well.
Have you noticed he's been tweaking out hard?
I'm tweaking
Yeah, I'm
so
watching
hard.
him. I mean, his
I
eyes
have-
are shifty.
Every morning at 6 a.m. I have a cup of coffee, and then later on at 4:30.
That would destroy my digestive system. I could not handle that.
Well, I mean, you weren't here for Dixon Hearn, but me and Matt spent a lot of time talking to Mr. Hearn, and we talked about that regional culture, you know, and that, you know, one of the things about this podcast is that what I hope to capture and what we kind of go for is capturing that local culture, because I have this feeling that in 20 years it's all gone. the homogenization that you just talked about. It's just creeping in and creeping in and creeping in. And so part of this country is digging its heels in very hard to keep their local identities, but other ones are just letting it wash over them like a wave.
And I mean, it's okay to have both. Like, you
And
can
to-
have both. You can have gumbo
Absolutely.
and hamburgers. Like,
I
you don't
can
have to
have a-
drink. You don't
I
have to
can-
eat all Cajun food to be a Louisianite or a Louisianian
Yeah.
or whatever.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Like, and the other thing is to break some of those stereotypes,
Yeah.
to see that I am a redneck. You literally pulled up on a country.
Oh, he's a
this is
redneck,
this
ladies
is-
and gentlemen.
This is a country house, in the middle of pretty much nowhere. You literally drove through a bayou to get here. Literally.
Yeah.
Don't say that. Not a bayou.
That it is.
I guess
If it rains, that
What-
motherfucker's getting swampy as
Whatever-
all get
Dylan,
out.
did
Whenever
you
I-
not drive on a road that
You're
was
right.
water on both sides?
You're right. You're
on the
right.
other side of a levee.
When I think of bayou, though, I think of like.
See, you fell into the stereotype too. But what I'm saying is that we just had this kind of conversation in this area, and we're not. I'm not waving a rebel flag around here. Now, I mean,
Ugh.
I don't have a problem with the rebel flag. Whatever, it's on you.
Let's
However,
not get
white
into whatever.
supremacists have ruined the rebel flag.
Yeah, well,
I hate you.
and the thing is, the rebel flag, the reason it's such an issue is because of its use by the KKK.
Yeah, exactly.
And people, like, the Civil War is not the issue. It's
done.
The usage by the KKK.
Still to this
And
day.
To this day, they still use it. And the big issue with that, it's like people that say, "Oh, we've reclaimed it." It's kind of
because you haven't went and killed all those stinking. And I don't mean kill isn't, but you haven't stomped out. Let's say that you haven't killed off the white supremacist
hatred,
people.
yeah.
Rock wants them dead.
I do not want white supremacists dead. You have a right to express your views.
You're only
You-
saying that because you live in a town with a lot of.
Oh,
white
I wish they
supremacists.
fucking would.
Come at me, bro.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm just saying, this is America. You can say all the racist shit you want.
Yes.
You're just in the court of public opinion. You're gonna get your fucking ass kicked. Like, nobody's gonna hang out with you.
And that's what I
You know?
went back to when I was saying earlier. I don't. Does it really matter that if you're a racist, or does it matter that when you try to use your racism to actively suppress people?
Yeah.
That's whenever That's whenever I get hackled. That's whenever I start. That's whenever the other voice.
But that's where the left gets itself fucked up. Is that they go from, okay, when somebody says something racist, we're gonna respond to that and say, hey, we're not doing that here. What they try to do is they try to say, we're just not going to let those people talk.
Yeah.
And that's bad because whenever you face off in the court of ideas, good ideas are going to win, And
Over time.
over time, yeah.
Not immediately,
It's
not
not
right
like
now.
that, But when somebody says something racist, if you say, like, racism is clearly not a good idea. Like,
It doesn't work
It
in this
doesn't work.
country, and it doesn't work in the world, and the world is getting smaller.
yeah, you like in your day-to-day life, you have to interact with people of other colors, and they're no different than you are.
They were raised in the same culture.
Yeah, they were raised in the
almost
same culture.
identical cultures.
Their skin color is different. That's like not picking one. Like, if you paint my car, my Nissan Sentra, if you paint it red, it is not a new car. It is the same car. So changing the color of human beings does not affect their performance in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and I understand where this stuff come from. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand that 1,000 years ago, if a ship pulled up onto your shore and the guy was a different
White
color,
man, get them.
yeah, you better run, bro. But
That's not the world we live in today. People got to get over that
and
shit.
so your head has to lead your heart.
And I know I'm a white guy. I'm a privileged white guy talking about racism, and that only goes so far. But at the same time, most people I talk to feel this way. They're like, this is the South. You're going to run into racist people every once in a while. I mean, that happens anywhere.
I mean, I think a lot more than you'd really think.
Yeah.
Especially around here. I mean, even Lily moving down from New Mexico, she gets a lot. Whenever she's on the phone, she tells us, like, she gets a lot of weird looks if she's talking to her mom in Walmart or here and there.
And the fact that you're looking at somebody weird for speaking Spanish in the South, come on, dude.
well,
Come on, dude.
We don't talk that around here.
blow you away. I'm at work texting her, and one of my coworkers looks over my shoulder, and she goes, "Is that Spanish?"
Is that Iraqi?
She goes, are you texting in Spanish? And she was just blown away. Could not fathom the fact that we were having a conversation in another language.
Yeah.
Is she going to text you back? I want to see. Show me when she texts you
Yeah.
back. Just could not fathom. And this is a...
Clearly a microaggression.
No, she was blown away. She was...
Fuck off, Brock.
She was...
Did you hear my thing about
mesmerized.
microaggressions?
No.
I did a little 10-minute rant a few weeks ago.
Oh, God. I'm going to have to watch that whenever
Yeah,
we
you
get
should.
done.
Here's the punchline. She's a college graduate. Just graduated college.
Yeah. I mean,
Probably took Spanish at some point in her life.
And just could not fathom the fact that someone was writing in another language.
but whenever you, like, the language you speak is the language you think in.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
whenever you're not used to being around that, it's like, oh, people speak other languages. Whoa.
Well, it'd be one thing if it's like, oh, cool, you're texting Spanish? Like, what does that mean? Or she just couldn't wrap her tiny brain around the fact that...
Tiny
brain.
She had,
Maybe for just one moment, let's not say it was a tiny brain. Maybe for one moment, let's just
an
say
uninformed brain.
You are gonna like my 10-minute rant. Assume ignorance, but assume innocent ignorance is something that I've had to walk around in life doing. When a
Yeah.
guy tells me that he can hit me from my guard, I have to assume an innocent ignorance.
He's never been in somebody's guard.
And he's never been in mine.
Yeah.
He for sure has never been in mine. You know what I mean? And that's not arrogance at that point.
No.
It's just like
Experience.
You don't know.
Yeah,
You've
you
never
never-
been there.
And that's one thing about, here we go again. with the
I was
fucking
thinking
fighting.
it. I was thinking it.
That's one thing about fighting is that people think they can do things that they've never been trained to do, and
Have never done.
Have
They've
never
never
done.
even. They probably never even done a cartwheel out in their own driveway, much less.
I can't do a cartwheel, so we're not gonna.
bet
Chill,
you can.
chill out,
just,
Brock.
It just doesn't make sense though for the average man to tell him that, hey, there's someone that has the exact same like physical physique as you. He's not super at all, but he could do.
He can fuck you
He
up.
can do whatever he wants. And I always bring it back to painting. I tell people if you've painted twice in your whole life for about 5 minutes, you paint a little flower with 2 colors.
You're not Picasso.
And then there's some guy that spent 3 hours for the past 7 years painting every day. If I give both of you 5 minutes, who's going to
He's
give me the
gonna
better
fuck
piece?
you up.
He's going to throw together a beautiful mountain piece.
Yeah.
I throw together beautiful mountain pieces.
You know,
Those are pretty sweet,
subliminally-
dude.
Subliminally, I think that might be why I said that.
Oh, you were throwing shade at Brock. Those are good, dude.
They're
I like that
different.
shit.
Well, I mean,
Okay, here's the thing about artists. They always go, it's different when they're unconfident in their work.
no, I'm unconfident in everything in life.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way.
But
Even though I
here's the-
shouldn't be, I'm a fucking savage. I'm good at everything I ever try. But
Shut the fuck
No,
up.
well, part of the way that I've tried to live life, and Dylan has seen it, and Dylan can attest to it. I try to become good at everything.
yeah, no, I'm the same way. Absolutely.
It's hard for me
I
to
wouldn't
let
say
go.
good, I'd say decent.
Like
the same.
when I started
what I mean
off-
by that is that
when I started off in DJing and music production, it drove me absolutely fucking nuts because I had to learn everything from YouTube tutorials. There's not like you can take guitar
But
lessons.
thank God for the YouTube.
Yeah, you can take guitar lessons. There's no music production lessons around here. You can't.
Right.
That's not a thing.
Look, I didn't even know what a rave was before this
Yeah,
conversation.
and the thing about production is it's so many different facets of it. Like there's the arrangement, there's sound design, there's mixing, there's mastering. And so back in the day, you would have a different engineer for all that shit. And so whenever you go to do all of that by yourself, you have to wear so many different hats, and then you have to step in the club and be a decent DJ to get gigs and actually make any money. You know?
I mean, but here's the thing about the modern world. Right now, I am the camera engineer.
Yeah.
I'm the audio engineer. Two different soundboards.
yeah,
But at the same time, we're having this conversation. I mean,
Yeah.
the modern world is one of
yep.
hat switching like nobody's business.
And it's only going to get worse from here.
right, and that is stressful. And the
Cool.
serotonin reward that people get is smaller and smaller and
Well,
smaller.
Back in the day,
Back
you know,
in my day.
definitely not in my day. I'm way too young for this. But like I said, my grandfather drove a milk truck. That was what he did. You know, that was his job. And that's kind of how men were defined, and women were
Well, it's
defined
still to this
as
day.
like,
Hi, Jake. I'm Brock. What do you do?
yeah, exactly. Well, and for me, that's always a complicated question because it's like, well, I'm an MMA fighter and a music producer and a DJ, and I'm trying to join the Air Force to be a TAC P, and I'm 3 semesters away from a degree in computer science, and it's like it's hard to fully explain yourself in an elevator conversation.
I'm gonna Eastern philosophy both of you right here.
Oh shit.
That's not who you are. That's not who you are, Jake.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
You're
My
not
chi-
what you've
But
done.
this is a creep of Western culture that we're talking about. I mean, it's still to this
my
day.
chi is what I am.
No,
Right.
no, not your cheek.
I was just fucking with you.
It is all within me.
Well, it's like everybody tries to. That's such a weird question. Whenever you, I mean, because Alan Watts talks about that a lot. Whenever you introduce yourself, it's like, hey, I'm the soldier. I'm the manager at this bank. I'm this and I'm that. And
I usually just go with whatever.
You think relates to that person the most?
Yeah.
Me too.
Whenever I was in Vegas and I was at the beach, you meet a lot of people. Most of them female. Most of them want to know what you do. And it's like I always.
Sexist pigs.
No, I'm not being sexist.
They
I
are.
was just saying- Oh, some of them are just there to take your
I ain't
bottle
saying
and
she
drink
a
it.
gold
but,
digger.
So, like, I hate talking about that kind of stuff because I sound like the guy that's trying to tell you what you want to hear so he can have sex with you. Because, like, oh yeah, I'm a DJ, I'm a music producer, I'm an MMA fighter, I'm joining the Air Force.
you're 100% that guy.
Yeah, like it sounds like I'm the guy that's trying to just tell you what you want to hear, But like that's the stuff I do. That's what I like to do. That's what is exciting to me. I should have gone with I run a tech startup.
A tech startup. That's the new one, right?
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
the
one
new
of this
one.
age.
Yeah.
The digital age.
We've almost figured out AI. And if she's interested by that, oh yeah, she's a keeper. If she's like, what? You're just like, I got to go to the bathroom.
So if she's the female version of Dylan, you run to the bathroom.
Oh yeah, no. You run out of the club. You run down the street. You go back to your room. You lock yourself in.
So we just did this for 2 hours.
We're 2 hours in.
We're 2 hours in.
Oh man, we got a marathon coming up.
No. give me some closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts?
See you on YouTube. You got a Facebook page.
I'm not on YouTube.
No, I'm sorry, SoundCloud.
Yeah, you can find me on SoundCloud.
Find Astrocraft with a K on SoundCloud. Oh yeah, by the
Yeah.
way, I meant to show the logo a second ago, but you was so wrapped up in your. There we go. Astrocraft with a K, ladies and gentlemen.
I've been waiting on this get on this podcast for like fucking ever, and it's over in 2 hours.
Well,
Weak sauce.
Well,
that hurts
Well, I
my feelings.
mean-
I'm cut so deep.
Why?
Yeah, that's my emotional response. Emotions.
she.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. If someone was to explain Brock in 25 words, 25
Touchy.
descriptors, I'm not sure that anything dealing with emotion would be in the top 10.
Did you just reference
Bad at
the
Halo.
military-
That's what I would.
Did you just reference the military? What is it? Competency.
Oh, yeah. They so
The 20
jacked that. No,
the
they stole that,
25
though. They stole that.
If you have to list, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and explain this real quick. It's a
Okay, good, 'cause
online
I have no
test.
idea what the fuck you're talking
online
about.
test you take. What is it? Is it U.S. Army wide or?
Well, okay. So before you deploy, the Army has you go on to, I want to say it's the
Take a
University.
breathalyzer test.
No, it's the University of Philadelphia, I think.
Yeah.
Has a psychological exam on there. But it's just for yourself. And
Funsies.
yeah, funsies, but it's a self-discovery thing, right? And yeah, you have to explain yourself in 25 words.
Self-discovery.
Or no, you answer all this, and then they give you the top 25 words that describe you,
Why do I need that to deploy?
because you got to know who you are. You need to know who you are. You got to find your center before you go. Even though I'm going to tell you that more than likely your center is going to move.
No, you're going to become a nihilist and stare into the void for the rest of your life.
He almost became a nihilist.
Oh.
I am definitely a nihilist.
Yeah.
Becoming a nihilist is the best thing you can ever do.
No, because it does matter.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It matters only because you say it matters.
Right.
And that's how it should be.
But step one of that is what matters. Now that I've said it matters.
Test to
what
Philadelphia
matters?
before you drone off.
No, I already answered that all.
Well, I mean, like, so it gives you a 25.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, describing you.
That's
basically.
completely missing the point because you can't describe a person in 25 words, no matter what 25 words you
Well,
pick.
it's like there are 25 different fucking words, and everybody has all those same words. It's pretty much giving everybody the same description.
Right, but your top 5, I think is what it was. Your
Yeah,
top
look
5.
at
Now
your
put
top
up your
five.
Your top 5 is who you are, and this gives you it's kind of like that personality exam. You're an ENTJ or
Oh, fuck that shit.
Even though you can take that test every day of the week, and depending on the type of day you've had, you're a different thing, and that's when I chuckle.
I always describe myself as an introverted extrovert.
You're Peter
Anyway,
from Family Guy.
Yeah, probably.
No, what I
Can we jump into this nihilism swimming pool real quick, though? Because Brock was about to say something, and
Well, I mean, okay, so so I'm going to say it here. Existence is pain.
damn straight.
Survival is victory.
Damn straight.
Discipline is freedom.
Survival is victory.
Survival
But you're all going to die,
is victory.
fuckers.
Right, which is why each and every day you have to hold on to what's important. What's important to you is what is virtuous to
Well,
you.
and this is what people get fucked up about nihilism is that just because I say I'm a nihilist and I don't think anything matters doesn't mean stuff doesn't matter to me. Like I've realized the fact that nothing matters on a universal scale.
You give value.
Yeah,
Well,
I give value to.
Do you believe in a benevolent God?
I don't believe in any God.
You've went completely atheist.
I define myself as agnostic.
So you believe that there could be some
There's
sort
a
of
possibility
power.
of one, but until I see one or have evidence for one, I'm not gonna
I think
proclaim a religion.
Have you ever read? I'm sorry, Dylan. Have you ever read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius?
No, I've wanted to for a long time.
I'll give it to you.
Okay, cool. I gotta finish Banter Brothers.
I want it
first.
back.
God, that means I gotta read it fast.
No.
Good luck reading these next 4 weeks.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Finish Banner Brothers, and then
I'll get it
tell
from
me
you.
on the mat, and
Okay.
yeah, I'll let you borrow it. And I mean, or you can just go download it off Amazon,
That's
off
true.
Kindle. I mean, but the point is to read the words of a Roman emperor like that, and
Mm-hmm.
to see how he saw the world, and to remember that it was a general that became an emperor, a man who went deep into the trenches, and then he went all the way
Mm-hmm. Came
down.
all the way out.
Yeah, and then to read the words of Epictetus, which was the man before him.
Mm-hmm.
And Epictetus was born a slave and died a free philosopher.
Yeah.
And to read these men's words and to go, okay, so these men went to the darkest regions of the world in their souls and came out and came up. Neither one of them were nihilist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was 2,000 years really before, but they answered the questions of nihilism,
Mm-hmm.
nihilism, 2,000 years before Frederick ever, stroked his chin and said, "We've killed God, and here's the problems with us killing
And
God."
I've never even been I don't really read into Nietzsche too much, or Nietzsche, or
Nietzsche. Yeah, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, though, is still an amazing read, and I think
Mm-hmm.
all teenage boys should read it because they
they're
then
too
should-
busy reading fucking Harry Potter.
Right, yeah, Harry Potter. They're reading the new Bible.
Yeah.
You read Harry Potter and you love the Harry Potter series. What you did was basically subscribe to all the allegorical elements of the Bible.
Yeah.
And because it's a wizard, you're like, ooh, it's so beautiful. I learned so much from
And
it.
the
If you'd
Bible
have just
wasn't
read the
even-
Bible, kid, you'd have had the same
Nobody's
lessons.
praying to Harry though.
The Bible isn't even
Are you kidding me?
original in and of itself.
No.
What do you
And-
mean? Am I kidding you?
Define worship.
Nobody. All right. So this is coming from somebody that's been
Define.
in church for a few years.
No, no,
like,
no, no, no,
hide
no.
my face.
Define worship.
Whenever I hear worship,
You're asking a lot of Dylan here.
I think of
I'm just saying, people have a lot of idols in their life
Mm-hmm.
and things that they pray to that they don't realize that they pray to because they're not being introspective about it.
setting time aside to show one's conviction to an idol.
Yeah. Harry Potter fandoms. Harry Potter this, Harry Potter that. I mean, yeah, people do all sorts of things to it.
Mm-hmm.
Have the books. I've read the books. Have you ever read this in the book? And the book is about this. It's different than the movie.
But I mean,
I think
We
Game of
could-
Thrones is cool as shit.
oh
Like,
God,
right.
we
but-
can't even get into Game of Thrones. That's going to be another hour-long
Wait,
conversation.
no. Me and Lily started our first series, and it's Game of Thrones. We're in season 2 right now.
Oh, you haven't even fallen in love with it yet. You
Now,
don't even understand.
When I was deployed, I got sick, and everybody forced me to watch the first 4 seasons. I
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. Or I think what was it,
Like
3?
knocking on death's door sick.
Yeah, I was pretty bad. But
Yeah.
I went 3 seasons deep, and I just loved it, but never watched it again
Really?
because you sit down and
Oh yeah, you got to get through it. But
don't no spoilers. Just
I agree with Brock and that people worship a lot of stuff. But like, from a guy that doesn't really,
worship or appreciate, because like you talk about Harry
It's
Potter
the-
fans, and I'm not like a. I don't even. I've seen the movies. I thought they
he's
were.
such
cool.
a Harry Potter fan.
No.
But
What?
it's like I
What?
think of other things, and like I really appreciate Dragon Ball Z, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't like set hours aside a day. Like,
Did you ever find yourself creating an image in your head that was like Kakarot, that was like Vegeta? Did you ever find moments
I mean,
where
look
you
at him.
defined yourself by those people?
So growing up without parents, I absolutely.
And this is fine. I understand the why. I'm not getting
Yeah.
on to you about the why, but what I'm saying is in those moments,
But
What would he do?
you made them your religion.
that's a good
Yeah.
point, Brock, because
Yeah.
a lot of people like that's the whole point of Christianity is to model yourself after this idea of
Yeah,
Christ.
Okay.
in psychology, they call it the
But that's
fabled
not
self.
worshiping,
that
though.
view in your
That's
head
not
of who
worshiping,
you
though,
are
is
in your
it?
perfect self.
To me that is.
Yes, it is.
When I
You're
think of
modeling
worship-
yourself after someone.
We
I
can
think of
even take
worship,
worship out. You're idolizing
Okay,
something.
yes,
you
am
know?
idolizing.
What's the difference?
Yeah, there's no difference.
It's different because you say worship, and I think of all the times that we sat in front of the altar and was just like, oh.
You're talking about your specific experience.
Yeah, that was.
I
that
mean,
was our
take the
worship.
theatrics out of church, and it's
Yes.
it's the
Okay,
same thing.
yeah. No, I absolutely idolize characters from movies.
yeah.
I mean, like
Mine's
even
not so
now.
much with movies, but like
That's what I'm saying.
Captain Winters in Band of Brothers.
Right,
Like,
right.
if I could be that good of a leader,
But you've
you
taken
know,
a real man.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why it's not idolization at that point.
Wait,
Yeah.
why not?
Because you're making a fabled self in your mind after a real self, and you realize that Captain Winters is flawed.
Yeah. No, like, and that's one thing.
I realize fictional characters are flawed too. Like I always take the.
Yeah, but that's because those fictional characters are better designed than some of the Judeo-Christian characters. Like, if you look at Greek mythology,
There's a reason why those gods are so flawed.
all those gods are humans. You know what I'm saying? They fuck, they kill, they shit, they do all the stuff that humans do. And so it's not really at that point idolization. It's just stories and it's like fables basically. But then when you try to take a perfect character like Jesus, or I really don't know enough about Islam to comment on that, but when you take a character like that and then try to say that's how we're going to be, what you don't realize is Jesus is so vague in the Bible and God is so vague in the Bible that it can literally be filled any sort of way you want it to.
So then the man from the pulpit defines.
Yeah. And that's my biggest fucking problem with religion is you're not, if everybody was following the good stuff Jesus did, I would have no problem with it. And I don't have a problem with people practicing religion. I encourage it. If that's what makes you happy, do you.
If that's what makes you a good person.
Yes, it's when it starts affecting me and you start telling me what I can and can't do, and you start telling gay people that they shouldn't be doing this, that, and the other, and you start, in the cases of some countries, throwing gay people off of buildings and doing shit like that. That's where I say, all right, fuckers, you're causing issues here, So the problem, it really isn't with religion. It's religion taken to an extreme. I have a problem with
Or-
extremism.
Religion taken seriously.
Yeah.
Isn't that's
Yeah.
the hardest thing to admit is we're all in agreement that it's fine to be Christian, it's fine to be Muslim, but don't ever be
Fundamentalist.
a real Christian.
exactly.
Don't ever be a real Christian. Don't ever be a real.
But
No,
that's the
you
problem.
can be a real Christian.
That's
real,
the problem.
Real Christian. Be an altruistic one.
Yeah.
Who doesn't put your beliefs above the life
Well, it's
of
like
humanity.
when people try to define what is a real man. It's different to every person you ask. So when you say a real Christian, to one guy that means stoning gays and following the 10 Commandments to the T, and to another guy that means helping the poor and
Well,
doing the best for people. So
I feel like if you 100% believe in the Bible, if you're a devout
That's
Christian,
bad.
a devout Muslim, then that means you believe that if I don't believe, I will burn in hell for eternity.
And
if defined the way it
and
is
that's
through certain
that's
fundamentalism.
that's the kicker.
So
Is
I
that
kind of appreciate the people that are radical Christian because they're the ones that really don't want you to suffer for all of eternity.
well, I feel bad for them. I really do, because they've spent their whole life wrapped up in this. I'm gonna go to hell. 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 I gotta earn heaven. I gotta. It's a father complex. You know, it's like trying to earn. It's trying to earn the appreciation of your father. You know, my dad always loved me. I didn't have to earn his appreciation. I didn't have to earn his love. I did stuff, and he would go, "I'm proud of you, son." And I never had to. So whenever you take that and put it on a cosmic scale, that's poisonous, man. That is so dangerous.
For a lot of
It's
humanity.
really easy to control people.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And that's why you see these problems in the Catholic Church where I can trust my priest. He's the best guy in the world. He's a follower of Jesus Christ. And the next thing you know, he's fucking your son. And then the higher ups that you think you can trust, the Pope, the bishops, they cover it up. They send him off to Venezuela, and now he's touching on little kids down there. That's what I have a problem with. That's where I get bothered.
Trust in your religion. Trust nothing about the human. Human.
Yeah, exactly. And the church is 100% human. If you want to read the Bible and you find there's some great stuff in the Bible. There's also some terrible stuff in the
Well,
Bible.
I mean, that's why people say that, you know, you hear it over and over again. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
And, you know,
it's the abandonment of that old school.
yeah, they can't even put themselves with that anymore, even though they still have this deep-seated need, and we always will, I think, have this deep-seated need for that fabled self.
I don't feel that I do. I feel like I abandoned that whenever I abandoned religion. I had all of these, you know, Jason Bourne in the Bourne movies. That used to be my fabled self. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be the ultimate.
sociopath?
Wait, wanted?
Yeah, I wanted to be the most
Wanted?
unstoppable force of nature
Wanted.
on the planet.
Still
you know?
want. It's still a want, right?
Me? No, I don't. I don't
Come
want to live
on.
the life of
Come
just
on.
a.
But don't you want to be a bad motherfucker?
Yeah, I would love to be a bad motherfucker, but I want to be a bad motherfucker that's tempered with a moral compass. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
that's what I'm saying. He's a sociopath. He doesn't have one.
He just blows his way through everything. And so whenever I abandon religion, and now I find myself watching those kind of movies and being like, that's a ridiculous idol to have for yourself, you know, because that's not possible. One man, like when you play Call of Duty, you have this fantasy of like a one-man army. You guys are in the military. You know, you don't breach rooms by yourself.
You can't.
You can't.
Odds 5-1, 10-1 minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have
You're
no
actually going to
chance.
flood people into that room to the point to where nobody gets shot because everybody's
Yeah.
that's the reason why we take down this room this way.
We pop a flashbang in there and then everybody hits it at once as fast as you fucking can. And
What's the real odds, Brock? I don't remember, but ideally, like in ideal combat, you want at least five.
Well,
five
in symmetrical warfare,
No.
in like force on force, real
Conventional
tanks
war?
and- yeah,
Well,
conventional
not even
war.
conventional,
It's 3 to
'cause-
1.
3-1.
Right.
I wanted 1,000 to 1.
Well, I'm saying at least 3 to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, no fair fights. Like
Yeah. There's no
that's-
fair fights. And so I found myself being like, well, that's ridiculous. At that point is when I became happy with myself and what I was able to achieve. Because I always had this guilt when I was a kid of like, I don't really buy into this shit. That's not good.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's how that goes, you know?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah, we got to wrap it up.
All right. Gorilla Banter Podcast.
I hope my parents didn't watch.
I'm Brock.
Shout out to Jake's parents.
Dylan.
Love you, Mom. Love you, Dad.
Jake saying he loves his mom and dad. Catch y'all on the flip side.
Peace.
He was a noble man.